Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast. This is episode number 390, which we've recorded after 391 and 392. Isn't that interesting? My name is Colin Moriarty. I'm joined as always by my son, Chris Reagan. Chris, good day to you, my friend. How are you?
Good. You know, it's another day, early, not much has happened. You know, had myself some breakfast.
Oh.
And some coffee. Nothing crazy. Normal day.
What'd you have for breakfast?
Just eggs and bacon. I was simple today.
You made it yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
But when I make food for myself, I kind of like, it's like bare minimum. You know, like I don't even I thought it's like, should I put salt on my eggs? It's like, maybe, but like, whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's just sustenance, you know?
Yeah, right.
It's not a meal, really.
I mean, it's a little bit annoying, but I love cooking bacon at home because I feel like it always comes out the best when you just put it in the pan. You let it get nice and crispy. I like the little like bubbles that you know what I'm talking about on the one side. It's like the fattier side, and so like it cooks, but you got a few of the softer bubbles, and you eat those as well. Oh yeah, I love bacon, dude.
Yeah,
God, bacon's so fucking good. It has no business being so good. Well, it's nice to see you today. I've been seeing you a lot this week.
Yeah, it's a lot. This week we recorded about. We did as much as we do for like Snark Tank on a weekly basis. So it's like kind of like a similar cadence where like, it's just like, oh, it's weird to have both of those going simultaneously because I've seen all of you my entire week.
It's enough, right? It's enough. I understand.
Enough of this.
No, it's enough already. Dustin Furman, executive producer, wearing his Mega Man Legends shirt, perhaps trying to summon something into the summon circle.
Maybe
in the future, as there is rumors that there will be more than just Mega Man 12 in 2027 for the 30th anniversary. No, the 40th anniversary. Fuck.
Well.
How are you today, my friend? Good to see you.
Very good. I was thinking beforehand, I was like, okay, this will be my third how are you doing today? And I was like, well, between yesterday and today, I haven't left the house. I've been getting stuff ready for the break. And I was like, what's the most interesting thing that's happened to me? And really, it's that one of Holly's friends made her a homemade loaf of bread. And I made a sandwich with it today. And holy shit, it slapped. The bread. I mean, here's the thing is that normally we use like a low calorie bread because I try to just save where I can on calories, mostly so I can pig out later. So like lunch, low calorie bread. And who knew that it made lunch suck so bad compared to this delicious homemade bread? I'm sure it was 3 times the calories.
Yeah, concessions on the bread. I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
I can't make a concession anywhere else though, because it's just like meat and
yeah,
cheap.
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Fair. I love a good calorie, man. A nice solid calorie.
Mm-hmm.
Solid
it's good.
calorie.
Calories are important. Not too many, but actually, I wonder like what the caloric and like because Micah makes bread a lot, so I eat bread, like her homemade bread all the time, and I'm like, this must be better for me than whatever slice of bread or tortilla or something. It's got to be because there's like nothing. There's literally nothing in it but flour, yeast, salt, whatever. So
it's the flour, man. It's the flour.
It's God's gift. It's God's cocaine.
God's cocaine. Damn.
Have we talked about on the show where it's like, the fuck does a calorie look like? Like, what is a single calorie?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, is there an image of a calorie? Because it must exist as a thing, right? In some sense.
Well, it's like
scientists listening to this show right now, like, what the fuck?
Calorie wiki.
Calorie.jpg.
Calorie is a unit of energy that originated from the caloric theory of heat. The large calorie, food calorie, dietary calorie, or kilogram calorie is defined as the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 liter of water by 1 degree Celsius.
I don't like that.
In nutrition and food science, the term calorie and the symbol cal may refer to the large unit because there's also a small calorie, which is not what we're talking about. It is generally used in publications and packages labels to express the energy value of foods in per serving or per weight, recommended dietary caloric intake. Yeah, we know all this.
I love Google, man. What does I looked up what does a calorie, and it says one of the first things is look like under a microscope.
That rules.
God bless.
I love that.
Love it.
Also a calorie 1 degree Kelvin as well, in case you're curious.
Oh.
Oh.
I don't remember what Kelvin is anymore. I mean, I know what it is, but I don't think I've dealt with Kelvin since like chemistry in high school or something. It's like,
yeah.
I found chemistry somewhat easy compared to like I had a real problem with biology. It was just chemistry was so easy in a way because it's like, here's the periodic table. Everything has a value. Everything has like a mass and a weight. And it's just all very straightforward. It's not arithmetic, but it was easy. I mean, I'm sure it gets very complicated, but it was easy enough for me to like,
Sure.
We used to have the labs and you do, remember, did you guys have that too? Like the double periods in science?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'd go and you'd fuck around with and it was, I liked chemistry actually. It was fun. That's probably the science I enjoyed the most actually.
Oh, I bailed on chemistry like immediately. Like it was like I took chemistry in like my last year of high school because I was doing so much computer science. So I didn't really need a lot of sciences to graduate. But I remember like my last year, my senior year in high school, I was like, yeah, I'll take chemistry. And the first day they were like, memorize the entire periodic table of elements by tomorrow. And I was like, I'm dropping this. I probably could have if I stayed with it, but I was just like, I don't need this. Immediately I'm turned off by this.
What I remember is that at some point, my chemistry teacher, I had chemistry in 11th grade, and which was like, so if you were like a normal science student, you took earth science in 9th grade, biology 10th grade, chemistry 11th grade, and then physics 12th grade. And I was on that track. I was just because I was an honors and AP student with the humanities, but with science and math, absolutely not. So I like earth science was good. That was kind of easy. Geology.
Yeah.
And then biology, I don't know. I just really struggled with like, I got like, a C+ or a B- or something overall on that. And then I moved on to chemistry, and I remember my teacher was pregnant, and then she like just left for like most of the year. So we had like just someone else teach it. Like, it was buttressed by her, but like someone else was just there. And that's what I remember the most about that chemistry class. But it was the periodic table. So I find the periodic table fascinating personally, just in that they did figure out a way to arrange these things in these really coherent ways to the point where it started to guess where things were, like things that they didn't know existed yet. It's like, it should be here. And then it was. And it's kind of cool. It's like, wow, like all the noble gases or whatever. So they're like, here's like whatever, argon or whatever they needed to discover. And they're like, it should be here and have these qualities and this many, neutrons and all that. And then they predicted it. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, no, it's cool. In 12th grade, I couldn't give less of a fuck.
Yeah, right.
But it's fascinating now. Yeah, I don't know. I was good at biology. I was good at earth science. Chemistry, I never even bothered to try. Physics, I was pretty decent at. Geometry was the one math that I was good at that everybody around me seemed to struggle with, but I was so bad at every other math that like it didn't seem to matter. I don't know.
Physics is
so
tough
long ago
because I opted out of physics in 12th grade and I was able to take 2 other science like senior kind of electives. So I took ornithology, which was awesome, and astronomy. So like kind of basic, easy things to get out. And then when I went to Northeastern, my freshman year, it was either my freshman or my sophomore year. It's funny that I don't remember anymore really specifically. I as a history major, I had to take like 2 science classes at some point. So I was like, all right, I'll just take astronomy. And it was marked physics 101, but like PHYS 101, but I was like, it's just going to be astronomy. And no, it was physics.
Dude.
And I was like, oh no. And I stayed in it and I got through it, but I was like, I'm so bad. I am so fucking stupid with that shit. That's when the math gets crazy. And I'm
physics is hard.
It's like the math with no numbers, like I always say. It's like, here's an equation with no numbers. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm fairly certain. That was also my worst. Like, I was good at physics kind of in the beginning, and then I just completely fucked up. And I'm pretty sure the only reason I passed that class was because I was the only kid in that class that was not just unreasonably cruel to the teacher.
No,
everybody was like, he was just like the butt of the joke for whatever reason. I don't remember why. He didn't seem like particularly like uniquely. It was like they smelled blood in the water for some reason with this guy, and I wasn't even quite sure why.
Bad, man.
But I was
Dude.
always dying. I was like, I don't even think I was necessarily even nice to him. I just was apathetic about, I just wasn't cruel. And so I was like,
that's
you know
that's
what?
all it took.
You know what? Here's a 65.
Yeah.
You clearly got like a 52 probably. But like, you should move on. You're fine.
That's a weird dynamic. I've been in a class where the teacher had no control, and they were just like, they relented. It was like, I was in a Latin class, and the teacher, like during the final, there's kids like moving desks and working together, and it was not a group activity. And I'm like, and I got a really bad grade. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't care about that class, but I told him afterwards. I was like, bro, you let everyone cheat on this test, and I didn't cheat. And it just kind of sucks that they got good grades and I got a bad grade. And he looked at me. He was like, well, what grade do you want, Dustin? And I was like, I'm not telling you to give me a good grade. I'm telling you to do your job.
Yeah, he was definitely like
he's over
checked
it,
out. Yeah.
Dude, I was nice to him. That's why, like, I was one of the only, like you, Chris, I was one of the only people that respected him to some degree.
Right.
But I was like, yeah, you suck, dude.
It's interesting, man. Like, it's funny remembering just how rough like high school kids are, and just remembering how like annoying everybody is. And then now as an adult, like knowing some people who are teachers is like, damn, dude. Like,
yeah,
they're really like, no sane person would do that job. Like, no sane person would be a high school teacher or something like that. It's like, it is actually like bewilderingly difficult.
It was one of those things. Both of my sisters are teachers. My sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, cousins, and so on. Like, it's funny because I talk about it sometimes. I'm like, it never even crossed my mind once that I wanted to be a teacher. It's like, out of all the things I can be, it's like, I wanted to be a professor. Right. And that's really more about like, you realize this once you go to college, or if you're familiar with like academia, is like professors don't really want to teach, and that's not why they're really there. That's kind of part of the deal. They're really there to like research and write and stuff, and then they have to teach these classes. And that's usually where TAs come in, because the TAs are grading everything. Like, they're really just academics and you want their name, their name attached to your school and all the rest. And that's what I wanted to do. So I was like, I was willing to like adjunct, and it's funny, man, because when I got as everyone knows, when I got my job at IGN, I was about to TA that fall. And I would have had to have dealt with like freshman and sophomore, like American history classes or whatever.
Brutal. Brutal, man.
So yeah, it's like, it's not, I feel bad for teachers personally, because I do feel like they do have it pretty good on one hand. You get weekends off, you get summers off, vacations off. And I know you have to plan and do all these other, I get it, and grade papers and stuff. I know. I used to grade my sister's when I was in high school and college. She was teaching like middle school or something at that point, and she used to give me like her spelling tests to teach like over Christmas break. Like, they would do like their little spelling tests, and I would correct them. So I know like these guys are stacked with work. So on one hand, you have this great schedule, but on the other hand, you have to teach. And it's like, even for an hour, I wouldn't. Especially with kids today, they're probably horrible. I mean, they are horrible. Every once in a while, I watch on YouTube like these videos of why teachers quit, and the things that like kids get away with. I like couldn't even imagine these things happening. I went to a pretty bad school too. Like, not a good. I've made fun of it many times. It's like one of the worst school districts on Long Island. Like, easy. And no one was like that. Like like the stories you hear about today. And it was a pretty bad place. People used to fight. People got stabbed. And like, there was a security guard. They got one of the chicks, like one of the girls in my grade, pregnant.
Oh,
it's not going to be cops in our school. And like, like, and all that. It's like, and you don't, the shit you hear today, it's like, what? Like, you would have gotten fucking destroyed for doing the shit that these kids are doing today, even then. So
are kids allowed to use phones in school now? Have they just like relented to that? I feel like I've heard that now, because when I'm assuming this is the same for Chris. When I was in school, if you could bring your phone to school, but if you had it out, it was like immediately like they're either taking it or you're getting into some degree of trouble.
Yeah, it was something like that. Like, I know for some reason, I remember our school, like 2007 to 2011 being like a period of like quick change from like year to year. Like, everything was different. Yeah. But I remember the first year, like, it was a big deal. And then by 2011, my last year, you still couldn't have it out in class, but like you could have it out in like the hallways and stuff, like in between, or like the bathroom or something. But yeah, like that's I don't know how you really regulate it, really, because people are going to be on it anyway. You know, I was on it when I shouldn't have been, for sure.
Oh yeah,
and that was before there was anything meaningful on the phone. You know, there wasn't really any apps or nothing. There were, but like.
Dude, that's not true. I remember Brandon playing Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh, wow.
In our English
class. You guys
class.
are so young. It's so funny.
And he looked up and our principal had walked in and he just like did one of those like, he like slowly scooted his phone into his lap.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. I never fucked around with mobile games like back then.
I could never even imagine being in a school. Like I had graduated college before the smartphone really even was a thing. Right.
Yeah.
Again, you had like some people had Blackberries or like sidekicks. Sure. This girl I dated had a sidekick, which I thought was, and she's actually, cool. she was really cool. She was an ASL major. She was hearing, but she was like fluent in ASL. And I think her parents were deaf. And so that's what they apparently in that community at that time, they used to all use sidekicks to talk to each other. But it was like this very foreign thing. I'm like, so your text message, it was like 2005 or 2006, I'm like, you're text messaging?
Yeah.
And I was doing T9 texting at that point too, but it's so funny. Like I got my first cell phone when I was a senior in high school. It was a brick phone. It was a Nokia. And then I graduated college and the iPhone wasn't even announced yet. It's kind of, so I would be totally broken if that's why I always say, I'm like, I'd be fucked. Absolutely fucked. I was addicted to the internet. I used to have to go on it though.
I think we got a pretty decent deal. Like we were kind of like the last, it's like Indiana Jones grabbing his hat just before the door shuts. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I feel about it, where like, cause we got reliably decent smartphones, I think, when I was like in 11th or 12th grade. Like, so I was already halfway through. I didn't get my Droid until senior year. And before that I had a fucking Motorola Razor where I could only text on, or that I could only call on. I couldn't even text because my parents were like, we're not paying the text charge.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
So like you call me and that's it.
Chris, you had the Verizon Droid that had the slide keyboard.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I still have it. This is so weird. My first phone, and this is when they were old and on clearance, was a Motorola Razr. And my first smartphone was a Droid. And that thing sucked ass, dude.
I loved it. I loved it at the time because I thought it was so cool and weird. I picked it up recently, like when I was home over the break, because I still have like a lot of my old phones in like I just have a bunch of old gadgets in like a drawer that I never wanted to get rid of because I thought like, oh, maybe I'd want to look back at this one day. And I did pick up the Droid and I was like, this thing sucks. But at the time, I remember being like really impressed by it because it's just like, whoa, look at all the shit that it could do. It had a slide up keyboard. I thought that was so dope. This keyboard feels like dick, feels awful, feels like trash. But, you know, everything's like that when you look back on it, sort of. But we kind of got out because even in senior year, like the apps on phones were kind of fucky. Like there wasn't really reliable internet service. So like I couldn't like watch YouTube videos at school because like the service was so shit and like things like that. So we got out just in time, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember the keyboard thing just because my first smartphone was a Palm Pre, which I loved, but and that ran, what was it called? Other OS or something like that. It was like a totally different operating system than either iOS or Android, but it had a key. What was it? WebOS. That's right. And they sold it at some point to someone else. But I was convinced that I wanted a keyboard, and I remember watching Steve Jobs when they were showing the iPhone, making fun of keyboards and being like, "Oh, this is what's holding like BlackBerry back or whatever," and like you need to embrace putting the keyboard on the screen and increasing the territory of the screen. I was like, "You're fucking crazy, dude. You don't know what you're talking about."
I felt the same way. I was like, I felt the same way about touchscreens for a long time where I was like, get this crap out of here. I need to feel the keys.
Right. It was just
this thing. Now it's so crazy.
You had to get over it. You had to.
In fairness, touchscreens back then didn't have the haptic feedback that they do now. Like they feel a lot better than they used to. Like they used to feel really trash. But they got better.
We were talking about this recently on a show that probably hasn't even gone up yet about how like you need tastemakers like that. Like people that are like, no, this is what you need. Like, this is it. Just go with it. Like, but just true visionaries. And it sounds crazy to say like that's a really visionary thing, but it is. It's a massively visionary thing to say like no keyboard. Yeah. It'll be there when you need it. It'll be digital. It'll be annoying at first. I remember when I got my first iPhone, I used to hold it to text like this.
Sideways,
yeah. Because I couldn't even imagine typing like this. And now,
yeah.
And that probably lasted a few months, right? So it's so funny. Like they were just right about everything. And that's, I mean, no shit. That's why I love Apple. It's just like do they have it in them anymore? I don't know. But there was a moment of time, right? Like late 70s, early 80s to late aughts, around when Steve Jobs died, which was 2011.
Yeah,
it's like,
I think early 2010s even they were putting some interesting stuff out. It's
like Apple II, Macintosh, right? And then you get into a bunch of the weird shit in the 90s, like Newton and Pippin and shit that they don't care about. But then you get to the iMac, and then the iPod, and the iPod Touch, and the iPhone, and the iPad. It's like, dude, that's a pretty. So not only are those awesome products, all of them, but they're also like the seminal versions of each product. It's like when you think about like the first GUI computers, it's like Mac, of course, right? When you think about MP3 players, like if you didn't have an iPod, everyone looked at you like, it's like, what is this random thing you have?
This fucking dork has a Zune.
Yeah, it's
what
like
a loser.
Even before that, it would be like these really weird ones. It was like, what is this? And the phone, I don't know if it doesn't seem like it's like this in a lot of the rest of the world, but in the United States, it's definitely like people, when you have an Android, everyone's like,
yeah, a little bit.
Come on, man.
Like I know the people in my life that have Androids, and we've even shamed and guilted people in my family, in my family, in my life. It's like my dad, who used to use Android for many years, like just get a fucking iPhone. You're messing all of our messages up.
My dad still has a Samsung. It's like one from like 2016, something like that. It's fucking ancient. I don't even understand how that thing's still functioning.
Yeah, it's probably because it is an Android, and so he's on some old, forked fucking.
Maybe yeah. It might be. I might be exaggerating. It might be like maybe like 2019, maybe, but it's it's old. My mom got on the newest phone, and I'm still rocking something from like 2023 or 2 or something. So
nice. Well, I gotta get a new phone still. They stopped making this. Apparently, it's no more. The
SE. I might do that before the year is over. Actually, I gotta get a computer and all sorts of things before the year ends.
I have to embrace the non-button iPhone. For people that don't know, I've purchased 3 because it used to be like the number SE or whatever. Then when they went over to the solid state, they just made the SE brand, which was like just the button version, and I just kept buying that version. I think I bought 2 of them.
You're doing the keyboard thing.
Right, I am, because I can't. People have handed me their iPhone. No shit, like people have handed me their iPhones, and I'm like, I don't know how to open this. Like, because like legit, I still have the button on mine. Oh, the screen's all dirty, gross.
Yeah, it's on the side. Bam.
Oh, so you hit the button on the side to open it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you scroll up, and it's usually you'll figure it out.
Yeah. So I got, and I know the phone is much bigger too. See, I really like this phone form factor, but that's the other thing is that I always thought I wanted a smaller and smaller phone, and then every time I got a bigger one. When I go back and look at like the iPhone 4, which was my first iPhone, it's like this thing is really fucking small. Like
I love how small they are,
and they're thick, which is funny too. We've come a long way, dude. Very interesting shit. Shout out to all the technologists, primarily in California, that are doing all the hard work. All right. Well, that's it. That's all we have for this episode of
bye guys.
It's gonna be...
Hell yeah.
Well, we've been recording constantly for 2 weeks. And this is the culmination. I don't know if it's for you, Dustin, because you still have to do your mailbag, right? You can do that tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah.
And I have to write my letter to the audience, which I'll do tomorrow. But this is my last recording. This will be Chris's last recording. Our mailbags are set. All the other things we need to do are set. I've helped record some other things. You'll find me on Punching Up. You'll find me on Summon Sign. So this is it. I mean, this is the big finale. And then who knows where we go from here. I won't be back working until the 7th. So, and I'll prepare Sacred Symbols for what that will be 393. at that point. 391 and 392 are already recorded and in the can. And so I appreciate you guys for working so hard, as we always do every year. We have to buy this time, but we do. And then it's always worth it to get away. And it feels fun. I always like that first episode back. It's kind of like going back to school, where by the end of August, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I could do this. I could do this.
Yeah, get to see everybody, you know?
Right.
Get into a new routine.
Put on your new school clothes. That was always exciting. First day outfit.
Dude, I can't even remember the last time I got new clothes.
Oh yeah,
clothes. Period. Like well, that's not true. I got a Neversoft shirt sort of recently and that Crash Bandicoot holding a Snapple shirt because I was like, what the fuck is?
Oh,
this?
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, like a proper like I'm gonna go get new clothes.
Right.
And for that purpose, like, oh my God, it's been years.
The last time I did that was probably 2011, 2012, something like that. Because there were a few times in that era where because I started making, I didn't have much money, but it was like, I was making like a good amount of money at IGN where I could have a little bit of flexibility where it's like, oh, I could actually go buy myself some clothes, or I can go buy myself this or whatever. And I would go to the mall and just spend $500 or whatever on clothes and be like, yeah, now I have new clothes. But I actually need fewer clothes. I have so many clothes. I've said this before. It's like, there's just too much shit. We have a walk-in closet and I'm like, it's a lot of this shit's got to go. Like, I'm never wearing this again. Why am I even keeping this shit?
Yeah,
Nostalgia, really.
It's a second office right there.
It is. It really is. It is. It's our little bomb shelter. It's like the one room in the house that's like most central. So I always think in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, if there's like some shit goes off, this is probably where we want to be. Right.
Furthest away from any exit.
Yeah, well, you don't like the wind. It's like tornadoes and stuff. You know, you want to be with the windowless room. Not on the second floor is not great, but we do have a Harry Potter closet on the first floor. With that would probably be the safest, truly the safest place in the house.
Oh, cool.
All right. What am I talking about? Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast. We've been going live every week since 2018. It continues unabated. You can find us early and ad-free over on Patreon. Patreon.com/laststandmedia. Many, many thousands of you over there supporting us for $1, $2, $5, $10, $25 a month. $5 is the sweet spot. That's where a vast majority of you are at. That gets you early ad-free access to every episode of this show and all the other shows in the Last Stand network. Access to Sacred Symbols Plus every week. The ability to submit your inquiries to the show via the threads in the news feed for the respective shows, RSS feeds, Discord access, and so on and so forth. Lots over there. $5 is a steal, especially with how the United States government has degraded the value of your dollar. Sacred Symbols Plus, each and every week, supplement to the show, conversations, reviews, deep dives, and so on and so forth. We've all recorded a bunch of mailbags, so you're going to hear from everyone. Not everyone. Let's see. Who are you going to hear from? Should I say? Me, you, Dustin, Chris, Micah, Lockmort, I think is a combination of people that you're going to hear from over the break. And on this Saturday, a very special episode of Sacred Symbols Plus is going live. Do you think they're going to like it?
I think they're going to fucking love it.
Yeah, I do too.
Maybe too much.
Yeah, maybe too much.
If you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, I know. But I think they'll really enjoy it. So please look forward to it. Sacred streaming as well continues on YouTube Mondays at 1 p.m. We'll be back. What was it? The 12th, I want to say, with streams. Sacred Symbols Plus will now fill in. So there's 2 episodes of Sacred Symbols Plus during the holidays a week because it'll fill in for the sacred streaming slot through the 5th of January. So look forward to that. But we'll be back with that, and you can see the VODs on YouTube and on Patreon. We recently streamed Terminator 2D No Fate. We did the Game Awards stream, which is up to it's a lot of views for us, right? Like it's nothing for others, but 72,000 views on that, which is pretty cool. So you can go check that out. We streamed Marvel and beat the 3 of us, Marvel Cosmic Invasion along with the audience, Metal Eden, which was a great game, Ball Pit. So we've done all these, and Saint Slayer, which is my new game coming out next year on all platforms. You can wishlist it on Steam right now and play the demo if you'd like. So lots of games over there. We'll be back. Got to talk to Brad, but I'm not going to worry about it till next year. We got to get Chris's hosted game of Sacred Streaming going. And there are a few other things that I want to do and really start getting a little bit more into the nitty gritty and into the weeds. Like I had come up with that idea Trophy Advisor that I want to do. And I think I'm really going to start getting into that. Start doing a little bit more themed content if I can on Sacred Streaming, because the audience vacillates. It's funny. Like I don't know. Well, it's kind of predictable. They're not going to want to see like a bunch of the smaller games, but sometimes we'll have like 500 or 600 people watching, and sometimes we'll have like 2,000. On a normal like Monday stream. When we stream the Game Awards, it's like 3,000, 3,500 or whatever it is, which is awesome. I mean, that's like so much crazier than I.
It depends on it depends really heavily on the game. Like I even notice that when I'm streaming, sometimes it's like games that you think would be interesting or that people would lock in for whatever. I get the most people watching when it's just me speaking, and there's no game.
People seem to like that. Yeah. We'll
like,
do that.
All right.
Yeah, and I'll do more of that too. I like the one-off like office hours style thing where it's just like, just chat and hang out and decompress, whatever. Merch, laststandmedia.store. Although the store is going, you can still order, I think, but we're not going to be shipping anything. And there'll be a note on there when you go, but until January, by the time you hear this, probably. So too late. Tristan Orchard wrote in, said, "Hi, CDC. I recently purchased a stand-down t-shirt during the Black Friday sale. As I excitedly put on the high-quality piece of apparel, my wife turns, looks at me, and starts laughing. For context, I am a paraplegic and use a wheelchair full-time. She thinks people will find my t-shirt either uncomfortable or hilarious. Would you find it funny if someone in a wheelchair wore a shirt that told you to stand down? And do you think people may assume it's something to do with me using my wheelchair? Much love from Down Under, Tristan." Now, is he saying he's down under because he's in Australia in the Southern Hemisphere, or is he saying he's down under because he's sitting a little lower than we would be?
Column A, column B type situation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That is funny. Did you think of that, Tristan, when you ordered it? Did you know?
I don't think so. It seems like she's the originator here. I honestly don't think I would even put those things together because stand down is such a phrase here that I don't even think I would have even noticed.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. I probably wouldn't have noticed either. But that is funny, come to think of it. And we'll see how people respond to it. We appreciate you supporting us all the way down in Australia. All right. Before we get into anything, I did want to acknowledge a few things because I've been getting things in the mail. We have a P.O. box. I want to be clear at the top, and you can find the P.O. box address on our Patreon. But, and you don't have to be a patron to see it. It'll be like on just the main page. But we have it because people want to send us things, but you shouldn't and don't have to send us anything. Just want to be clear about that. Just being honest with you. Like I should, like we say it from the Seinfeld, I should be giving you presents. Nate Sticker wrote in a nice letter here. I won't read nearly the entire thing, but he sent us a lot of really cool stuff, and I was going through it yesterday. He sent he sent a few things, but the thing I want to really shout out is he sent really pristine copies of the Prima guides or maybe they're Brady, for Resistance 1 and 2, which I thought was pretty cool.
Nice.
I love strategy guides, as everyone knows. And that era of strategy guide where like every game of any consequence had a strategy guide was so funny. Because like I was thinking about it, like, why the fuck would Resistance have a and these strategy guides are huge,
right? Too.
And it's like, this is for linear first person shooter. There are collectibles, but it's just so funny. So like everything got a strategy guide back in the day. I appreciate that.
I had the what is it? The Spider-Man 1 movie game strategy guide. And I remember being like, this has a strategy. It's like
funny shit.
It's so straightforward. It's crazy.
And so Nad Sticker, thank you for sending that in. You also sent things in for Micah. This has been sitting here for a while, but I forgot to acknowledge it. Nick Himes gave me this PS1 themed memory card hitter box. And I thought that was really sweet. So it's like, a thing where you put joints in it.
Oh. Shit.
That's awesome.
And it's 3D printed. So there we go. So yeah, I'm not going to use it for that, but it's a cool little memory card. It's thicker than a memory card, but it's a nice little idea. What else here? All right, Robbie Cooper sent in a bunch of nice things as well, and a nice little note. This is on like a little piece of tissue paper almost. Robbie, let's work on the stationery. Let's work on the stationery.
Is that like receipt paper?
Yeah. Oh, right. That's exactly what it is. Like, Robbie, because it was such a nice present, I want you to get work on the stationery game. It's important. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for setting in your gifts as well. And what else here? Oh, okay. So this is the final thing I want to say, and this isn't something someone sent me. It's something. Well, it is something someone sent me, and then something else. I am so pleased to reveal. I mean, everyone knows it if you've kickstarted it, but the hand-drawn game guide to Mega Man is out, and I got it in the mail. And I got to tell you, dude, this thing is fucking awesome. What an incredible! And I was emailing with Phil Summers, who wrote and drew everything in this book. And they worked with Capcom and they worked with the Nintendo Force, which is awesome. Old IGN colleague of mine, Lucas Thomas. And they do great work. They do this physical Nintendo magazine that's kind of like the spiritual successor to Nintendo Power. So they worked with Capcom, and it's just like this. Dude, everything in it he drew. Everything. Every page. Just like it's an incredible feat of, I don't know, of art and love put towards it. And it came, I got the one of the special editions because I supported it like the $150 tier or whatever. So it came with like a bunch of really cool shit, stickers, but then he sent me this as well because we correspond back and forth. So I know Phil because Dagan, my older brother, is an animator for many years, for like 3 decades, and Phil's older brother is also an animator, and they're friends. So they introduced us. Thinking we'd be kindred, and it's true. And he sent me a really nice note on this beautiful hand-drawn game guide stationery that he had, and I was like, "Damn, dude, this is awesome!" And I was telling him, I got.
Yeah, that's way better. That's way better than that piece of shit that loser sent.
Fucking loser.
1 second ago.
And then he sent me like actual hand drawn, like as a thank you for supporting him and for the kind words and stuff. Sent me like hand drawn the actual, like some of the actual pages of the
that's so cool.
And he asked me what I specifically wanted, and I was like, I love Bomb Man stage, and so he sent me like Bomb Man's map, and it's actually 4 pieces, so you have to put them together like as if you were spreading across a book. So the book is available for you to purchase, and you definitely should. He's moving on. We already kind of knew this because they made so much money doing this book, but I was excited to see this at the end.
Oh shit!
And that's when it's going to get fucking awesome. So
for audio listeners, it's a tease for Mega Man 2.
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
That's very cool, man.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So shout out to him.
Production value on that looks high.
I'm like a fanboy of his almost. And he's great. Phil Summers is a great guy. So thank you for sending me that, Phil. You don't listen to the show, I don't think, but wanted to throw that out there. Hopefully send you a few more sales for your wonderful book. And hopefully move on to Castlevania at some point. And I was telling him because I was like, damn, dude, him and Castlevania would be. That's the other thing. And just that a person can make a good living doing things like this if you just do it right and you find the right market and you hit it right. Oh my God. So it's so cool. So fun.
Yeah.
All right. A few other things from the audience, and then we'll get into the news. William Lawson wrote into us on Patreon and said, gentleman, he says, gentleman. A quick thank you. LSM has been a constant in my life longer than many people, and I'm incredibly thankful for all the insight, laughs, and enjoyment you bring. Please give my best to the entire LSM family, and I'll keep giving my best to the chicken. Let him oink. Thank you so much. So yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge we got a lot of messages like this. I won't read them all, obviously, but I wanted to pick out one. Thank you, everyone that sent in your kind holiday wishes and your Christmas wishes, your New Year wishes. It is much appreciated. We wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year as well. Happy holiday. Again, I hope a lot of you can just kind of get away. And I've been writing my Christmas cards and kind of getting those, most of them are out now because they won't get delivered in time if I just send them any later than this. So I've been kind of getting into the spirit a little bit. We got the tree up. No lights on the house. That's too much. You have lights on your house, Dustin?
I do. More than ever this year, actually. I've kind of upgraded.
Oh. Color lights?
Yeah. Yeah, they're like nice. They are LEDs, but they're nice.
That's what it is now, though, right? I mean,
there are options for more. They're still LED, but for a more traditional warm glow.
Right.
I've seen online. I don't have them. Mine were just like $10 lights from Sam's Club, but they're nice. I was telling Holly when we set them up, Christmas lights are tacky.
Oh yeah.
By what they are, but you got to hit the right line. Like if you go overboard, it's too much. Like the blow up stuff, I hate that.
Oh my God, my neighborhood's covered in it. It's hard. Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, it's not my style.
But listen, lights on the house, I like it. It's nice.
I'm like one of the only houses in my whole neighborhood that doesn't have any lights. And most of it's like I don't want to take them down. You know, it's like I gotta do
annoying.
this, and then I gotta like go back and I don't have any kids. I'm not trying to like impress anyone. Because I understand. I talked to some of my neighbors. I'm like, man, this is some setup, and it's like, yeah, well, you know, like the kids are into it. You know, it's like but it's so funny because it's like I was also into it, but my parents didn't give a shit that I was into it. You know, they. I've said before, like we weren't. My mom, after my parents got divorced, it was like game over for like this whole mantra. But my mom was white lights only, everywhere, white candles in the windows instead of lights around the house, like very basic, very simple, clean, 80s with the wreaths and all the rest. And so I never really even got, but you know what I love? I love the old school colored lights with the fat glass bulbs. You know what I'm talking about? The ones that are like this size, like the size of like some sort of nut.
Yeah.
Like an almond in a shell or something. And I just loved those. And they must have been so expensive to keep on. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Those look the coolest.
I think it's look. I don't know, man. I think it's like modern lights look to me really disgusting. I think we've talked about this like briefly over at some point, but like there's videos online like showing the difference between like just the difference in like modern like LED Christmas lights and like older like incandescent. And it's the vibe is completely like the vibe of like old incandescent bulbs is like, oh, that's Christmas. And then it becomes like gamer, like RGB, like keyboard bullshit on the tree. It looks so heinous.
So I watched an extensive YouTube video about Christmas lights from a YouTuber called Technology Connections. This is what I do late at night.
Yeah, that's great.
The problem with the LEDs apparently is that they use the LED light itself is a color.
Right.
And so what they've done in these new LEDs that are slowly being adopted is that the LED itself is white and then you use the colored glass. And that kind of brings back that old feel as opposed to like a neon bright green LED light that just doesn't quite work right.
Agreed.
So there you go.
So we do have the Christmas tree going. We have the internal kind of inside decorations going. Micah does. And I don't mind that. So I don't have to get involved in that. The outside is my responsibility. So it's like I'll keep the outside nice and the grass trimmed and the flowers growing and all of that. But like I'm not doing the lights.
You're like the outside's my responsibility. So I did nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
Christmas lights.
Listen. I work my ass off out there during the year to keep I definitely have one of the nicest yards in the neighborhood, I believe. And a lot of people have nice yards. It's not like I live in a shitty place where no one has a shitty yard. But I work hard at that. But, you know, that's my responsibility. Micah doesn't even really seem to care. So it's like, well, she doesn't ask and doesn't care about the lights or anything like that. I don't think she really cares. But she can always ask me if things change. And I'll be happy to, you know, comply. We have all sorts of things we could put lights on. Shrubs and trees and bushes and obviously like railings. I'm definitely not going and doing like the thing on the house, and because don't you have to like nail things into your house or something? Like I don't know, you're like making holes and shit, and I don't want to be like that's like the worst idea to do. When I got my solar panels, that was like the major risk and like why I went with a really good company is because you're making holes in your roof.
Right.
It's like one of the stupidest things you could possibly do if you don't get it done right. You know. Anyway. All right. So William and everyone that wrote in, and of course, everyone listening, the tens and tens of thousands of you listening, Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year. Be well. And thank you for writing in with your kind words. Andrew wrote in and said, what's up, Lampoon, genuinely, and come on, man. I've been a listener since episode 83. Up until recently, I've never owned a PlayStation and have really only played on Xbox. I met Steven, a fellow patron, at a mutual's Thanksgiving last year. He and his wife were also at this year's Thanksgiving, and we were talking about games that we had been playing recently. He offered to sell me his all-digital PS5, still in good condition, for too good of a price to pass up. He had upgraded to the Pro. It just so happens that 2 months ago, I agreed to pet sit for them for a stretch leading into Christmas. We agreed on having the amount he'd owe for my pet sitting services be lowered to the amount for how much I would pay for the console. He got the PS5 hooked up in the guest room before they left for the trip. I've gotten in a few hours of Spider-Man Remastered so far, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'll gradually repurchase some of my Xbox library to play again on PlayStation. Demon's Souls and The Last of Us are exclusives I'm wanting to get to next. Shout out to Steven and also to his cats, Ratchet and Clank, and 3 dogs. One is named Tifa. They've been a lot of fun to care for. Go Bills. Isn't that, there's a lot of interesting stuff in that letter. 2 fans, 2 star-crossed fans, listeners finding themselves and each other.
Right. This reminds me where I met a listener of the show at a mutual's Halloween party. This is before I was on the show, but I was editing the show. And I knew because I pulled up and there was a kind of funny sticker on someone's car.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, that's so funny, dude.
And so inside, I met him inside and he was cool because he listened to Sacred also. So shout out to Corey. He's probably listening right now. He ordered a Christmas sweater.
Oh.
Because Micah alerted me. She's like, someone from Butler bought one. I was like, who is it? And I was like, oh, it's Corey. So shout out Corey.
We sell moon stickers if you want to replace that sticker on your car.
Dude, I think, well, I think he's moved on, but maybe not. I don't know. I think he's out. He's with us now. We won.
You can't stop winning. So these guys, I love that people like, it's interesting. I mean, that's a low probability, but possible situation to find yourself in, is to meet a fellow listener out there in the wild. Very fun. Upgrading to the Pro, but selling your old console, I feel like that's dangerous for some reason. Like, you want to have a backup, in my opinion, at that point, if you can. I mean, that's maybe a little too much for some people, but what would you do without your PS5? Probably kill myself if I didn't have any video games to play. What am I going to do? That's play on PC?
Your lights up?
Yeah, I could put the lights up. Yeah, that's true.
A little late now, though.
Yeah, it's a little much. It's like when I remember, I don't know what it specifically is, like why I got this impression, but it must have been old movies and TV shows or something where it's like, there was this thing where people would go get their tree on Christmas Eve. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like, did you ever, yeah. Like, it's not, I only remember seeing it in in media. Right. I don't remember anybody that I ever knew or like was aware of that went and got their tree on Christmas Eve. But there's a lot of like holiday episodes of things that are like kind of, I think even the Smiling Friends Christmas episode from the first season is them getting a tree on Christmas Eve. And it's like, this is definitely old school.
Yeah, like I wonder what that's all about. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, because I guess we have like all these things we like feed to the trees now to like keep them going. And because like you could water the trees when you get a Christmas tree, but now there's like all these like, because we buy them like this, because we get real trees or whatever, is like you put like this like substance in it and it like keeps them alive longer. And in other words, they're not going to go in 1950 getting the tree in like, December 10th and this thing's going to be dead by like December, right. Like totally like dropping its needles by the 18th or something. So you get it on Christmas Eve because it stays fresh maybe through New Year's or something.
I remember we had a fake tree for quite a while. But that thing was heavy because like, I don't know when my parents got it, but like, it definitely felt like, you can tell how old something is just by how heavy the material is.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
In some way where it's just like, this is clearly like an
old
like this is like a 1989, like steel fucking Christmas tree. And it was so heavy to put together. I remember it. And then when we moved into a house out of the apartment, we got a real tree for exactly 2 years. And then we were like, fuck this. We're going back to this. We're going back to because it would shed.
Yeah, it sheds.
The shedding. And then like, I don't think we thought about that. And then like the dog would like, ooh, what's this? And it would start eating the shedding, and then it would get sick. And it was like, this is kind of a fucking racket, this thing.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, that's probably maybe where that came from back in the day before they figured out all these chemicals to try to like feed the tree to like keep it going, which is it, because you're just straight cutting them and they're dead.
Yeah.
So, and then
it is funny to imagine a tree sitting there through most of December, almost like a dog, like a 23-year-old dog that the owner just refuses to let die.
Right.
And you're kind of having those like side conversations, sidebars where you're like, I don't know if this is like the most humane thing to be doing, really.
Right, like you're cutting it down, and then you're like, it's like you're like posting it up like as a symbol to other trees. Like, this is what this might happen to you.
Right, it's like Vlad the Impaler or something.
Like, yeah, like we're putting lights on it, like and decorations. We top it with a star. It's like we're humiliating it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Christmas trees.
Yeah.
I like that. I've said this before on the show, but it's just I like the pagan tradition of bringing a tree inside. That's where that all comes from, and it's cool that we still do it, even if it's ostensibly for Christmas and for Jesus Christ and all that. But I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm doing it because I just think it's a cool, like, weird thing humans have been doing for 1,500 years or something. You know, where they're just like, yeah, cut this fucking pine tree down and bring it inside.
Yeah, like the most toxic type of tree too. It's like,
yeah, that you can't breathe in the smoke or like eat anything that's cooked over or whatever. It's
you can't. It ruins everything. But yeah, it's toxic, right? If you burn it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't learn that. I guess I kind of fundamentally knew that, but I remember Micah buys like all this weird wood, and she loves like grilling and smoking and stuff like that outside. And I was like, what about pine wood? And she's like, can't use pine wood, dude. I'm like, yeah, it's interesting. I guess you can't. You have to use like cedar or something. And maybe that's not even one of them, or some sort of different wood that they enjoy.
My favorite thing about that specific bit of knowledge is that we had to have learned it at some point,
right? It's exactly
which implies that like so many, like George Washington with his lead teeth, he's probably like cutting down pine trees for Christmas and then like burning them and like cooking all sorts of shit out of it. It's awesome.
Just sucking on lead for decades,
like a Jolly Rancher, dude.
Yeah, for decades and decades. Oh, God bless. He did go crazy around your neck of the woods, Dustin, during the French and Indian War. And, you know, he became a hero for like some conflict he had with the British where he killed a bunch of British, him and his people in Western PA. Maybe around Fort Pitt, actually, but I don't remember. It's fun. It is funny. Like I'm starting to just, I don't exercise this muscle at all. So I'm like, I used to like know the American Revolution and the colonial era so well. And now I'm like,
sounds like
in there. Huh?
Sounds like a good, okay, so he went on a rampage, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be a good beat 'em up game.
Yeah.
George Washington.
Yeah,
dude,
George
American
Washington.
Revolution beat 'em up.
Yeah, dude.
Lily Mo, write this down. Get it going.
AmRev beat 'em up. Write that right down in my notes.
AmRev beat 'em up.
All right. I miss history sometimes. It's looking back on it, and I'm like, what is it? What was it? What? My whole thing was like, I was just going to know things. It's interesting. All right. That's all I have from the audience this week. So let's get into the news. There's only a few things of note this week, but some things that we need to talk about. And then we're playing a bunch of games. We're getting into that time of year, that season, where we can finally sit down and catch up with things. And I've been playing a lot of stuff, so it's been fun. And then we'll get into listener inquiries at the end, as we always do, and hear again from you. All right. I just wanted to throw this PSA out there. A few weeks ago, we talked about this new Ratchet and Clank mobile game, Ranger Rumble. And it was only playable in certain territories. Wasn't it the Philippines? That was the case with the MLB The Show port too. And you can go to rangerrumble.com to pre-register for your territory to play this game if you're interested. It looks kind of cool. I mean, I'm not going to play it, but it doesn't look bad. But I wanted to say the PSA is that the game is now available in Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and Finland, so Scandinavia. And we have a sizable Scandinavian audience. So I'm letting you guys know now, if you want to check this out and see what it's all about, rangerrumble.com. You can get going on there and play it on Android or Apple and see what you think. So just a little bit of a PSA for a beloved. Speaking of Ratchet and Clank, great names for pets, by the way. I liked that earlier.
Yeah. Good
almost
stuff.
as good as Russian Treble. But not quite. First piece of news broke this morning from when we're recording. And it's funny because we talked about this on one of the episodes of the show we've already done. But it seems like Sony has bullied Tencent successfully and gotten them to drop this Light of Motiram game. The word comes by way of a filing. It says, this is in Document Cloud, and it says Sony v. Tencent, stipulation for dismissal pursuant to Rule 41. And it's Sony Interactive Entertainment versus Tencent and all of the other groups that they were suing over this blatant Horizon copy, including Tencent Technology, Aurora Studios, Polaris, Quest, Level Infinite, and so on. The document is brief. It says, quote, pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 41 and the confidential settlement of all parties, plaintiffs Sony Interactive Entertainment LLC and defendants Tencent America, Proxima Beta, Tencent Holdings, Proxima Beta BTE, and Tencent Technology, by and through their undersigned counsel of record, hereby stipulate as follows. All pending motions are withdrawn, and this action is hereby dismissed with prejudice. All parties shall bear their own fees and costs. With prejudice means it can't be refiled. So this is a finalized thing, and everyone's incurring their own internal legal costs, which is not a huge surprise since it's probably all their own internal lawyers. And it is a confidential settlement, so we're never going to find out what happened here. However, the game is no longer on Steam. So that's that. And I'm not usually for these litigious things that are, you know, a little looser and, you know, what is it? But this was so over the top that it became, I assume, listen, I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but it seemed like Sony kind of had them dead to rights. It's like, you're not going to get away with this. We all know what this is. This is the game you tried to pitch us. And you're not going to just like reskin it vaguely and then pretend that that's not the case. We have this paper trail. All these people were in these rooms with you. You gave us decks, and here's a picture of your studio playing Horizon. And here, and it's like, come on, man. And I think eventually they were like, come on. And I think eventually they were like, yeah, you're right. So what I assume will happen here is this game will reemerge in some reskinned way, but they probably have a lot of work to do to differentiate it. And I would love to know the confidential settlement, because I would imagine, since they say specifically that legal fees are incurred by the individual parties, there's probably nothing other than that game just being taken down. I doubt that there was any payment or anything. So Dustin, any reflections on the Light of Motiram now? Case closed, dismissed with prejudice. It's over.
Yeah, it is interesting because it seemed like Tencent was ready to fight for a little bit. And I think we discussed that at some point, but you're right that the paper trail was there. There was no way they were going to get away with it. I wonder, I'm guessing this is highly unlikely, but it's something that we discussed and I believe Hogue brought up. Is there any chance this game comes back as an official Horizon game?
Yeah, I mean, that was his theory of the case, is that like this game is sufficiently developed enough where there's some way you could reskin it, but I don't know. I mean, it's so slimy. Like, why would Sony want to do, like, be like, it's almost rewarding them, right? It's like, fine, the game we didn't want to do with you, we'll do. Right. It's like, if I were Sony, I'd be like, you can get fucked. And this is going to affect our relationship. Like with us, with the two sides, with Level Infinite and Tencent and all these different things. Like, we can promise you that. You know, if that's if I were Sony, that's what I would be saying. But
I would say it's probably unlikely, just in the fact that they have two Horizon multiplayer games already. That's already, I mean, we don't know about the
too many.
There's too many. We don't know about the official. Well, not. I guess they're both official, but we don't know about the Guerrilla Games one. We do know about the mobile one, but I think it's already causing some confusion, or it will, particularly when the Guerrilla one's announced. So it's like, why even go there with another one that started as a blatant ripoff? So I think it's probably just dead. And R.I.P. Bozo. Yeah,
R.I.P. Bozo for sure. Absolutely. Chris, any thoughts on the Light of Motiram? I think that you actually are, I don't want to spoil the upcoming episodes, but I think this was on your list. Right?
Oh, yeah. We were talking about it. At the time, we were talking about like wondering how it was going to conclude. Now
you'll hear about that on episode 391.
Yeah, right. But no, I mean, it's a little surprising. I thought it would maybe last a little bit longer, or like this wouldn't necessarily be the outcome, because I thought like maybe like it is undoubtedly, I guess I look at things like Pal World, which seem not, that seems like more egregious, not drastically more egregious, but like it feels like a little bit more egregious than this did, because I don't really know what Light of Motiram is supposed to be outside of like the general visuals of Horizon. Like, it's very well, to me, it very well could have been that the gameplay is like completely different and it's not really, there's like a bunch of other shit involved in it that we just don't know about. So I thought maybe this would drag on a little bit longer, or there would be some kind of weird, like, okay, we're going to go and reskin, which I'm sure they are going to do. Like, they're not going to throw away all that work. But yeah, it's a little surprising for it to be resolved. In my opinion, it's unusual.
Yeah, well, I'll let Ed H speak because there was an angle of this that I was looking forward to, although I don't know that I was ever really going to get this far. He says, hey, CDC, now that Tencent and SIE have settled their differences, do you think we will ever see light of Motiram again, but reskinned as to not infringe on Horizon quite so blatantly? So that's the smaller part of his question. And the answer is, I think so. And I think we all do. And Chris was just saying that. Or could it be possible that SIE will license Horizon to Tencent's game after all? Again, I just don't see why they would do that. Time will tell. I'm just personally disappointed that the case won't proceed to discovery. Here's the key. The ABK acquisition and Epic versus Apple and Google lawsuits provided so many juicy internal documents for industry nerds like us to enjoy. Merry Christmas to you all and yours. I'll go wrap some presents from Santa and listen, all the best. Thank you, Ed, for writing in. That's where my mind was too with the last thing you said, Ed. The only value this case would have had was to see more. What's clear in all of these cases, this is especially true in Epic versus Apple, is whoever's like culling through these documents and editing them for prime time or whatever, like they don't understand a lot what's important, right? Or like what matters. And it's so funny how many things slip through the goalie because of that. Even because during the Sony Microsoft FTC thing, things leaked that shouldn't have leaked, like unredacted things that just shouldn't have been in there. But there's always things in there, in quotes, that are like, really? You're like allowing this to come out? This is so interesting. And it's just shit that people don't understand the importance of. Something always gets by. And that was one of the things I was looking forward to as well. Should it have gone through? But discovery would have taken, I mean, in this case would have just dragged on. We wouldn't have gotten shit for years. So this is the right outcome. I think this is creatively the right outcome. Legally, it seems like the right outcome. And I just don't think that there was any prayer, when you really think about it, of Tencent exposing themselves to discovery when it's so obvious that what happened. I mean, that picture of the studio playing Horizon like made me like laugh out loud when I saw it, like actually laugh when I saw it, where I was like, this is crazy. It was a picture they sent Sony. At some point, their lawyers were probably like, listen, we're completely fucked here. And we flew too close to the sun. And now we're dealing with the responsibility of that. So, Light of Motiram, like Dustin said, RIP in peace. Come back reskinned if you'd like, and come back with a better name. Because that name's not doing it for me. What is Motiram?
Yeah.
Motiram. It's like, that name sucks.
It's not great.
Come back with a better name. All right. This is big news. Sucker Punch's co-founder, Brian Fleming, is leaving the studio. He's been there since the studio was founded in 1997. And he will be leaving the studio leadership in the hand. So I want to say, I'm not sure. When I wrote the history of Sucker Punch at IGN, I interviewed, there were 3 founders left at Sucker Punch at that time. That was 10 years ago, more than that. Brian Fleming was one of them. I'm not entirely sure how many of the founders are there. There were 7 founders, I want to say. So he ended up in the top role, but he was a longtime producer and executive producer of their games. I don't know if you guys know like the history of Sucker Punch, but Sucker Punch was founded by a bunch of people at Microsoft long before Xbox was a thing or whatever. And they all spun off and they wanted to make a game, and they made Rocket Robot on Wheels, which I believe Ubisoft published. And that was a Nintendo 64 game. And then they were kind of on the ropes, and they encountered this kind of idea for Sly Cooper, which they kind of sold off to Sony and worked with Sony as a second party. And the rest is history. Sly Cooper became a popular PS2 trilogy. It led to Infamous, and that led us to Ghost. And Brian Fleming has been there the entire time, but Sony has kind of discreetly announced that he is exiting. So they write here in a PR release, quote, after nearly 3 decades helping bring life iconic franchises like Sly Cooper, Infamous, and Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei. It's funny, they're talking about them as separate franchises.
Right. Yeah.
Brian Fleming has announced he's passing Sucker Punch studio leadership on to a new generation. Over the past year, Brian has worked closely with PlayStation Studios to ensure that Sucker Punch was in the best hands moving forward, with a strong foundation for the studio's continued success. Starting January 1st, longtime creative and technical leaders Jason Connell and Adrian Bentley will step into new roles as studio heads, continuing to guide the team's focus on ambitious character-driven experiences that define PlayStation Studios. Jason and Adrian have been instrumental in shaping the creative and technical direction of Sucker Punch in recent years. Jason, who served as co-creative director on the Ghost franchise, has helped define the studio's visual identity and storytelling style, bringing cinematic depth and emotional resonance to PlayStation players around the world. Adrian, as technical director, has led the studio's engineering and production efforts, driving innovation across development tools and game systems that make Sucker Punch's world so immersive. Together, they represent the perfect blend of creative vision and technical excellence that has always set the studio apart. Nate Fox, longtime director at Sucker Punch, will continue as co-creative director to complete the overall creative leadership team. Brian's vision and leadership have shaped the studio's culture of creativity and collaboration and established a foundation that Jason, Adrian, and the entire team will build on as they look to the future. So one thing that I'm, and I don't know if they're saving this for later, is like I was surprised not to hear from Brian himself. He's never been a majorly forward-facing person. I think Chris Zimmerman, who's another founder, is still there. And I think he was kind of giving more recent interviews during Ghost of Yote's PR cycle. I wonder if we'll hear from him later, or maybe he just doesn't have anything he wants to say. But he's been there forever, and he's a really nice guy. I have very specific memories of meeting during when Infamous 1 was in development. That was kind of when I started to cover PlayStation, and I saw the game behind closed doors, and it was him and Nate Fox, and they were just really friendly and very warm people. Nate Fox especially is like a very, very, I mean, nothing wrong with Brian. I just knew Nate better. He's just a very nice guy. And sometimes it's just time to move on. It must be difficult to walk away from something you founded, sold to Sony. I mean, Sony ended up buying the studio outright in 2011. So he made a lot of money, and you're the CEO and the lead of the company. You're making a lot of money regardless. So it's time to kind of walk away sometimes. I think we'll know. There's like some theories out there that like this is a bad thing, and I'm like, I think we'll just find out if he really is retiring, or if he, people are allowed to just retire. I understand the skepticism behind things like the Jim Ryan thing kind of panned out strange, but then you have something like Ted Price when he retired. It's like, no, he really just wants to be done, and maybe it's just time to get out of this. Especially when these games are dragging on, it must be such a culture shock over all those years when it's like they made all the Sly Cooper games in 4 years. and then the Infamous games in 3 Infamous games in 7 years or 8 years, and then things just drag on, and it's like, well, maybe it's just I don't want to do this anymore. So I just want people to know who these guys are that they were talking about, and then we can go over to you guys and see if it matters. Brian Fleming, of course, like we were saying, one of the co-founders of the studio, came from Microsoft in the 90s. His discipline was more like in production as a producer. But the thing about Sucker Punch, and I think people probably have noticed this over time, this really started in the Infamous era, especially, is they kind of credit themselves as a team, and it becomes very nebulous who did what in some of these games. So it'll be like in the Sly Cooper games, I'm pretty sure the credits were like Sucker Punch is, and then just a bunch of names. So it's a little bit limited specifically on what some people have done on some of these games, but Jason Connell is a designer by trade and he worked in design on the Ghost games, and he also worked on Infamous First Light, which is the standalone expansion to Infamous Second Son on PS4. And he worked on lighting and effects for Infamous 2 and Second Son as well. So he's been there since the mid-Infamous era. And Adrian Bentley goes back even further. He's a programmer by trade, and his first project was Sly Cooper 3. So these guys have been there, know the culture. We'll see how it all goes moving forward. Dividing and conquering is something that Sony seems to want to do more, and it is true. I've seen some speculation about this too. It's like this is not a great thing to put two people in charge. It is somewhat rare to do that, but it seems like Sony likes to split the difference. I think this is what they were kind of trying to do with Nishino and Holst originally, was like, you worry about the games, like the creative, we worry about, for them, it was like, you worry about the games, I worry about the hardware. Here, it's like, you worry about the technical stuff, I worry about the creative stuff. And I know people are skeptical about that, and there's some like scuttlebutt, but let's understand our PlayStation history a little bit. Evan Wells and Christophe Balestra led Naughty Dog together during its like what is widely considered its most prosperous era, as like the crown jewel of PlayStation, and that drove forward these AAA narrative character driven games. So it's not unheard of, and Sony has found success having that structure for many years. So just some things to keep an eye on. Chris, Sucker Punch losing Brian Fleming, its co-founder. I think there's only going to be 2 founders left now out of the 7. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm not worried about it. Like, I look at this as like you've been in the game for a while. You know, it seems like, dude, honestly, I look at the landscape right now and I look at like, oh, it takes this long to make a game now. You know, I do kind of get it. It almost reminds me a little bit of and I'm not saying that this is his view. I don't know anything about him personally, but like it reminds me a little bit of Ian McKellen, like sitting in that green screen room of The Hobbit. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, this isn't really what I signed up for necessarily. Like, It would have been cool. It would have been cool to get like you were talking about, like all the Sly Cooper games were in what? How many years?
For 2002 to 2005.
It's fucking crazy. Like, that's coming from that era. I would imagine that this feels kind of like, yeah, you know, I don't know. I've kind of done what I need to do. And like you said, like studios, specifically PlayStation Studios, as far as like Naughty Dog goes, like they've successfully passed the reins before, and so like this doesn't strike me as particularly like sound the alarms. It's very far from like the Jim Ryan thing, which I kind of felt a little bit more like what the fuck exactly is happening. But even that was kind of like debatable at the time, anyway. But yeah, I mean, best of luck, whatever he's planning on doing.
Yeah, hopefully just retiring and laying in a bed of money. I mean, that's what I would do if I were him. And yeah, Dustin, let's get you on the record on this as well. I feel we often talk about the cover band kind of syndrome of these studios, and I feel that way about Media Molecule, for instance, as we say, and BioWare and some other things. But these guys are kind of OG and that are leading the team now. And my feeling is that this is kind of, I don't want to say irrelevant, but I don't think it's going to affect the trajectory of Sucker Punch. But maybe people internally feel different. The only people that really know are the people that understand the politics of the studio, which will be internal. So maybe this is like a horrible thing. I don't know, but I don't think so.
Yeah, there's no red flags for me from my very limited understanding of how they operate, but people from the inside that have been there for a long time sounds right. As far as Brian Fleming, whether he retires or you got to imagine that being a studio head is extremely stressful and managing these now long-term projects. And so whether he decides to retire or maybe just wants to go back to the way he operated before, start a small team, do smaller games, I mean, that would be cool too. I mean, that was kind of, I guess Ken Levine had a very interesting situation where he had 2K supporting him to do a small team for 10 fucking years. But I think that in your interview with him, Colin, I believe, or somewhere, he was talking about how it's just like, yeah, managing a team that big under that much pressure is just, I don't want to do that anymore. So maybe that's the case for him. Maybe it's not. Either way, I wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ken would admit, I don't know, I don't want to speak for him, but like, they famously had to bring Rod Ferguson in to finish BioShock Infinite, like to get it right over the finish line, like to like be like, all right, this is enough already. Like let's like put the pieces together and get the game out. So sometimes these like creative visionaries, I just personally can relate to that in that I don't want to lament it because it's like I do love doing this and I'm blessed to be able to do this, but like the team that we have now is like maximally big as far as I'm concerned. Like I can barely lead this team. And I said that on a recent episode when I was on Dan Allen's show where I'm like, I'm not a natural leader and I don't like being a leader. And I can totally relate. Dagan is like that too. Like Dagan could have been the creative director of a few different like TV shows and done like a bunch of things. And he's like, I just want to be an animator. Like I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to do this other shit. And so I can relate. I can relate to that. And yeah, I think probably for when you're at a place like Sucker Punch and you find, first of all, you're like real hungry in the beginning and then you find this runaway success and then you're making a lot of money and then you sell your company to Sony and stuff. It's like the going's good. You don't want to walk away. It's what I always think about when I watch sports where I'm like, the reality is a lot of these guys don't love the game. And I think that that's okay. It's like, they're just really good at it. And they make a lot of money, so the going's good. It's like, all right, so you do it. You don't have to necessarily love it. And eventually it's time. So, but it's all conjecture right now. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. But it's not unlike what's going on with what's that game? The Chicken Foot game?
Oh, Coven of the Chicken Foot?
Coven of the Chicken Foot. Where it's like, yeah, this is Bruce Straley. I read he actually gave an interesting interview. I think it was on Game Informer, I didn't include it, I don't think, in our rundown because there's not any news in it really, but it's a guy that's like reflecting a lot on his time on Naughty Dog and being like, I just didn't really like doing this, you know, or at least like this kind of had run its course for me. I'm making things for I'm making this major IP. I don't own shit. I make a lot of money, but it's kind of like, he didn't say this specifically, but it's like kind of like a mercenary thing. Really high pressure, you know, and to what end? So
to what end?
And you can look, Bruce Straley could have stayed at Naughty Dog forever. You look at a guy like that and you're like, well, how would you ever leave? But it's like, people just don't understand the mitigating factors about why a person would leave. So anyway, Brian, you're not listening, but we wish you the very best. All right. Marathon has a release month. They released a nice big Vidoc as well. How long is it? It's like, 23 minutes
22
long.
minutes.
Yeah. So a lot of information in there. But you can go to bungie.net as well and check out kind of a rundown of things. So Marathon, the big news here is Marathon's release will happen in March 2026, although no specific date yet. And Chris and I have discussed previously, although you'll hear it in the future, is like, I'm a little weirded out by that. I don't understand that at all. About like, it comes out in 3 months. When? In 3 months. Like, no specific date yet. Okay. $40. That's the target price, or your local equivalent. That's to be expected. That's the same that Helldivers and Concord were. And I assume Fair Games will be. They write here, quote, purchasing Marathon will give you full access to the game, including a roadmap of free gameplay updates as the year progresses. This will include new maps, new runner shells, events, and more, starting with the exploration of UESC Marathon's Cryo Archive in Season 1. We also want to ensure you are logging in because you love the game, not from fear of missing out. So Marathon's reward passes will not expire, and you'll be able to purchase and unlock prior passes. That's a big difference, I think, from Destiny, right? Finally, and most importantly, we believe in preserving competitive integrity in Marathon, so survival will never come down to how much money you spend. We'll share more about our plans for seasonal content, a roadmap, and details about what you'll be able to try in the game as we get closer to launch. And they highlight some things from the Vidoc that you want to see, and then you can get in touch with them in different ways on Discord and so on and so forth. But that's the big news. Chris, I'm very eager to hear what you have to say about Marathon.
Yeah, so this is a chunky Vidoc. They showed a lot of new shit. Now, granted, I played the Marathon public alpha in, I believe, May or April of this year. So it's been a while. But I remember even at the time, I put a good like 40 to 50 hours into it. I really enjoyed what was there. Needed a little bit of polish, some visual cleanup, and some little design decisions like where's the prox chat, certain littler things that I wasn't super sure about. And they seem to have kind of addressed a lot of this stuff. They've got prox chat in the game. They've got a solo queue. They've also got this like this scav run kind of thing where like if you don't want to risk anything, you can like kind of jump into the middle of a match in progress as like a hollowed out shell with like no crazy abilities, just running around, ratting around looking for shit and try to escape.
Free loadout, basically.
It's free loadout, but you miss out, I guess, on having like the unique, like you're probably going to lose a firefight, I guess, because you don't really have a lot of abilities at your disposal. I thought that was kind of neat. The big thing for me that was like kind of interesting and exciting and something that's actually new from what I've seen of this genre is like this body decay premise where like originally in the alpha that I played, which was public, so I'm not breaking NDA. They have to stress that, but you would kill an enemy and then they would kind of become like they would vaporize and then they would become like a duffel bag and then you'd kind of like go through their bag or whatever. And that was really the only indication that somebody had died there. You would see a duffel bag. Now the bodies remain, and over time throughout the match, they'll like decay and they'll kind of like melt into this like cybernetic goo, which kind of gives away like, oh, if there's like a fresh body, you can kind of deduce that like, oh, this was like a very, very recent firefight versus if it's just like a puddle or whatever. It's like, oh, there's nobody probably around. This happened a while ago, which I thought was like, that's a dope idea. I'm glad that they managed to implement something like that. Anything that gives the player information that's also like diegetic to the world is really fucking cool. It's a similar vein to the Wind and Ghost of Tsushima, where it's like not like this big arrow or text that says danger was here recently. Like it's a cool little thing. They seem to fleshed out a little bit more classes. Looks like there's a medic class. No duos still, which is kind of weird. I don't know if that's necessarily the biggest deal, but it is kind of like a weird omission. Arc Raiders launched without duos either, so maybe they'll like course correct on that. But there's 4 zones, like you said, that last one being an end game kind of location on the ship itself, which something is cool that I don't know if this is true in Arc Raiders. It's been a minute, and I don't know if I was paying that close attention. But in order to even gain access to that high end ship, you have to go in with like a minimum loadout value. So you can't go in there with nothing. Basically, you have to go in there and like risk stuff, which is kind of cool. I don't know if I don't think that's in Arc Raiders as far as I know, but
No.
yeah, I think you just go in there for free. But I think that's like a neat idea. There's like they teased a bit of a raid boss in the Cryo Archive from the original Marathon, the compiler enemy, which I love the design of that thing. They got a grappling hook in the game, so immediate win. But one of the more interesting things about this is like seeing who's in the Vidoc. And granted, this isn't necessarily new. Like there's been a bunch of old faces showing up on these Vidocs, but even particularly for Marathon. But seeing Chris Butcher there, who's like the technical director on Marathon, he was an engineering lead from the original Halo Combat Evolved all the way through Destiny 2. Steve Cotton, who is the creative lead, was like he started doing multiplayer environments for Halo 2 all the way through Witch Queen for World Art. Lars Bakken, who's like the multiplayer guy, he's been there since Halo 3. So you've got like a lot of like really original guys that I remember seeing in like Vidocs in like 2004, 2007. Seeing that's interesting. One of the weirder things, and this is kind of curious. So obviously they had the art scandal, right? They had the stolen decals from Anti-Real. And what I did notice is that the art director or the art lead, I can't remember the exact term, is Jason Sussman now. So it's not Joseph Cross, who was the art director at the time of that whole thing. So it looks like, I don't know if he's still, I checked his Twitter feed like during because there were some rumors going around that he was like fired. And so I was like researching. I was like, I don't know if he's been fired. He's still retweeting. Like, I think he retweeted the Vidoc even like the day it came out. So like, and maybe that's like a nice thing to do. Like, I don't really know what the situation is as far as like his employment, but he's definitely not the art lead anymore, which that makes sense.
Yeah. Something
valid.
Yeah. Got
probably.
by the goalie with that one.
Yeah. You kind of should have caught that. You caused a bit of a problem there, but Jason Sussman also
cost them a lot of money.
Yeah. But Jason Sussman, I just want to comment on him because him being there is interesting too, because he's been there since ODST. And so like a lot of original guys here, like working on this thing. And that's kind of, I don't know, it's fascinating. But yeah, 4 maps, $40, maybe a little steep in comparison to like Arc Raiders, which I think has like, I want to say 5 or 6 maps. I think at this point, I'm not super sure actually. I don't, because it's Buried City. Oh my God.
Buried City, Dam, Spaceport.
Buried City, Dam, Spaceport, and
there's 5. It says
yeah. So there's 5. So it's one fewer. Yeah, so it's one fewer. One of those maps in Marathon, the 4th one, is going to be like kind of like you can't just. That's like an end game map that you have to like buy access to essentially, like with your equipment and stuff. So like maybe some people will look at that as be like, there's really only 3 maps that like most people will experience. That seems a little steep for $40. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this. I think it looks great. I think it's a great Vidoc. I think it kind of quelled a lot of the concerns that I had personally. I thought the game was great when I played it back then. It just needed like a little bit of TLC, but now that it's looking a little bit more feature complete, they've changed some of the weather dynamics. They've changed the way foliage is rendered, so it doesn't look. I remember one of my main criticisms of the game back then was the indoor environments look great, and the outdoors look like, I don't know, like the lighting's not right or something. They've really, really addressed that. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm bullish. I'm optimistic about it. I'm excited to play it, and I think this Vidoc did did a lot to rehabilitate the image. I don't know if it's like fixed it entirely. I think there's always going to be like kind of like this stink on it in some way. But a lot of the comments that I've seen outside of IGN, IGN comments are always a fucking mess. But like most of the reception that I've seen to this Vidoc, both in the comment sections on Bungie's account and on various other places where it's been reposted, seems cautiously optimistic to just straight up positive, which is better than they were a couple months ago. So I think they did a good job with this.
Cool. I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure everyone's glad to hear that you're down with it. I think that's a good sign. Seems like I was looking at the YouTube video for the Vidoc to just look at the comments, and it's very positive. Dustin, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I think this looks awesome. Clearly, they were listening with the proximity chat aspect of it. I think that, especially after Arc Raiders released, it was like they had to get that worked out. They also showed in the Vidoc, Chris touched on this, is just that they talked about how like certain environments in daylight didn't really look that great. Yeah. And it shows that there's a clear difference there. It is one funny thing to point out, and this is just me being a dick mostly, is that there's a part that shows the menu and the store is at the very top. It's like, come on. Like, you don't put the store as the top option. And I understand that there's no gameplay things, but it's like, okay. Maybe from an optics perspective,
it is unfortunate, especially because I think that's the store for like the market, like for you buy weapons and shit from like vendors and stuff. So like you could have chose a more neutral term, because it's coming across. I think it's coming across wrong, but we'll see. I one thing I will say is like I appreciate the fact that it's so nice to see a game without a fucking Hulu layout. Like, I don't know what the hell, because even Battlefield has this kind of Hulu thing going on, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. Just give me a fucking list, please, for the love of God.
The other thing, you're good. The other thing I'm unsure about is they showed off a character has an ability to turn invisible, and I don't know if I like that. And I mean that I do not know if I like that in this type of game. So unsure, but we'll see when it comes out. I'm super excited for this game. And honestly, when it was, before even the art theft stuff, like, and people were kind of down on it, I was like, I don't know. I think this looks pretty good. This looks pretty interesting. I'm down. So this has only increased my desire to check it out.
You're down.
I'm down to check it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll find out what happens in March with Marathon.
Yeah. Well, very weird. Yeah. Very weird that it doesn't have a numbered date.
Yeah, like, I don't understand that.
I don't really get that, because it doesn't. I feel like there's no real work. Like it's gonna be good. So like I don't know why not just commit. Maybe they're like finalizing. Maybe they're trying to finalize like when the pre. They might try to figure out like when the beta is going to be, because I think there's probably a plan for that. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I agree that it's strange, just in like what kind of flexibility you're trying to buy yourself here, and to what end at this point. Like, just you got to commit. So we'll see. We'll see when they clear that up. And maybe it's some sort of rolling thing. Will there be some sort of early access if you buy a certain thing? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to be a little weird with that too. I have no idea. All right, just a few more quick things. Silksong has already been. Or has already surpassed, 7 million copies sold, which is incredible considering it's also on Game Pass. So congratulations to Team Cherry. They announced this in a blog post where they announced, and that wasn't the real news I wanted to talk about, although we want to congratulate them for that. What we wanted to talk about rather was that Silksong, the second Hollow Knight game, is going to get an expansion. And it's pretty amazing that they're moving this quickly, actually, considering how long the game took to come out. They write a bunch of stuff thanking everyone for everything that they're doing, and they say they have big news and they want to talk about it. They say, quote, "That first big expansion is already well underway. Check out the teaser below for a hint at what's to come next." The teaser shows a video about 40 seconds long for something called the Sea of Sorrow, and they promise, quote, "New areas, bosses, tools, and more. Hornet's adventures continue in our nautically themed expansion coming free for all players next year. We'll keep further details a secret for now, but expect additional info shortly before Hollow Knight Silksong Sea of Sorrow releases. They also talk about how they're bringing the game to Switch 2. I didn't know that it wasn't on Switch 2. Again, I think this has to do with just Nintendo being very stingy with development units for it, even to promising, teams like this. Very strange. You're hearing a lot about this, about how games are coming pretty quickly, or late rather, to Switch 2. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I think this is one of the games I'll be playing this holiday if I can find the time. Finally get into it and support it. They're also saying, and I don't know, I should actually read the exact quote because I thought this was pretty interesting considering how well the game is selling. They were, where is it? Oh yeah, beyond fan gamers' excellent items, the Hollow Knight games will also be popping up in various sales across the holiday break. Keep an eye out to grab a discounted copy, whether that's for a friend, a family member, or for yourself. I wonder if that's just the original or if they're going to even drop the price for a bit for Silksong as well. So something to potentially keep an eye out for. Do you guys have anything you want to say about this?
I think maybe I misheard you, Colin. I think I maybe have a light correction.
Please.
Hollow Knight Silksong is on Switch 2. This is they're ported, the first Hollow Knight is getting a Switch 2 edition.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay, yeah.
And I think that will include, high frame rate modes, higher resolutions.
Oh, cool. Okay, great.
So you'll be able to probably play the first Hollow Knight at 120 FPS like Silksong on Switch 2.
Very cool. Yeah. Okay. Oh, thank you for that. Okay, good. And then just a couple other pieces of news. This has really nothing to do with us, but I just thought it was interesting. Ubisoft has purchased a studio from Amazon and a game that they were working on. The game is a MOBA called March of Giants, which is only on PC and will probably never come to console, although who knows. And Amazon is not a publisher of games that is particularly prodigious. In fact, I think they've been fumbling and stumbling for years, considering how much money they spent on all this. What I thought was interesting about this, and I just wanted to put it out there on the record, was Ubisoft itself is purchasing this team. So this is not we've been kind of wondering like what the future of Ubisoft itself is after this spinoff with Tencent, where they took a bunch of their most valuable assets. And this is an aggressive Ubisoft that's buying a team and trying to acquire a game that they feel like is promising. So I just feel like maybe that showed a little bit more fight than I expected. And maybe this situation will turn out a little bit differently than we had assumed. So I just wanted to throw that out there. The deal happened on December 15th, and there are press releases out there about it. Neither the game nor the studio have any. I'm not interested in either of those things. I just thought it was an unusual story. Ubisoft seems to be in distress, so that they're now. I wonder how people at Ubisoft that are getting laid off or are about to get laid off feel about them spending potentially whatever it might have cost them, tens of millions at least, probably, to acquire that team and that IP. But I guess I see some sort of promise in it. The Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection got a release date of March 27th, 2026. This includes, I'm pretty sure, and I was looking, where is it? Star Force. Yeah, so this is all of the Star Force games, I believe. Because there are only 3 of them, and then there are different editions of them, because they were doing that kind of Pokemon thing with both Star Force and Battle Network during that time. So that's coming out. It's not really huge news, but I'm a Mega Man fanboy, and so I thought I would say it here on the show. And Aaron Anderson wrote in and said, "Hey, CDC, I'm super excited for the new Mega Man game, but what has me even more excited is the fact that it's been said that this isn't the only Mega Man announcement coming, and the other announcement could be sooner than we think." Colin, do you think this is a new Mega Man style game, maybe visiting a series like Legends or a new Mega Man X? Personally, I would love to get just Mega Man Legends Legacy Collection with trophies. Could this even be more than just one Mega Man announcement incoming? I think I said this last week, but just to reiterate, there is a reliable source, that guy Proto Dude, who is who runs like a massive Mega Man fan site, who is very well connected to Capcom, who says that there are multiple Mega Man projects coming, and what they might be or what the nature of them is remains to be seen. I don't really know how to read Mega Man 12 or whatever Dual Override as being like the marquee game. If that's the case, then I wonder if they're going to remake some stuff. Capcom has been so thorough that there's not much left to do. The only Mega Man collection that I really want still is the Mega Man Game Boy games. And I wonder if maybe that's in the works. But other than that, I don't know. I really don't know. Mega Man Legends 3 was a thing at one time. That was canceled when Inafune left Capcom. So that's possible to continue there. I think Battle Network and Star Force are dead. and should stay dead, but they've released the collections, and so those are playable. Mega Man X we haven't gotten a Mega Man X game since X8 was 2004 or 2005, I want to say. It's been a long time. And people really love Mega Man X. So that's always possible they go back to that. They might feel internally that they're redundant, like Mega Man Classic and Mega Man X, because they are kind of similar games. Mega Man X is a much more robust Mega Man experience from a gameplay perspective and from a systems perspective, but they are similar. I've said it ad nauseum. The game a lot of Mega Man fans want is the game that connects Mega Man Classic to Mega Man X, because they do take place in the same universe. And there is an event that happens that we never see. So that would be cool if that was the big game. And that could be the big 3D game, maybe even if they wanted to revive Mega Man in 3D, which I think will happen. So we'll see what happens there. And then finally, we have sales data for the United States market for the month of November. And it's apparently not very good. Matt Piscatella writes over on Blue Sky, quote, the average price paid for a new unit of video game hardware in the US during November 2019 was $235. In November 2025, it was $439. 3.9 million units of video game hardware sold in the US in November 2019. In November 2025, it was 1.6 million. So this is apparently the softest hardware sales in the United States since 1995 for a November. November obviously is a incredibly prodigious time for sales. I wonder what we think of this. And then, so we'll touch on that. And then we'll also touch on just the game sales themselves. So November's best-selling game was Black Ops 7. So that answers that question, at least for our market. Battlefield 6 is second. NBA 2K26, and this is for all consoles and PC, by the way. NBA 2K26, Madden NFL 26, and EA Sports FC 26 are number 3, 4, and 5. So very boring top 5. Pokemon Legends is at 6, but remember Nintendo or the Circana Group doesn't incorporate digital sales for Pokemon. So you would assume that game is more like number 3, I would say. Ghost Yote is holding on to number 7. College football at 8. Kirby Air Riders and Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment are at 10 and 11, both again with no digital sales counted. So those will be higher. Donkey Kong Bonanza's digital sales are also not counted, and that would also be higher, slotted here at 14. But otherwise, not a very interesting month. Forza Horizon 5 hanging on because of its PS5 release. Digimon Story Time Stranger is at number 20. Borderlands 4 is still hanging on at 18. And The Outer Worlds 2 is selling seemingly appreciably at number 12. So there's that. And then year to date. So this is where things, I guess, kind of get interesting. And this shows Battlefield 6 as the best-selling game of the year so far, with Call of Duty slotting at 7. So
wow.
So again, Black Ops 7 outsold Battlefield 6 in November. Battlefield 6 came out in October. It is still the best-selling game of the year. And Monster Hunter Wilds, I'm still surprised by this because no one seems to like it, is number 3. Now, the other thing that I wanted to point out here is Borderlands 4 is the 4th best-selling game in the United States for the year. And this gets into my whole theory of the case. It's like no one is talking about these games comparable to how they're selling. Like nothing has the zeitgeist. Nothing stays around long enough. Borderlands 4 is considered a disappointment by Take-Two, according to their own financials. And yet it is the 4th best-selling game. There's a disconnect there. You know? And Monster Hunter Wilds, everyone hates. It's just so funny. Everyone hates Monster Hunter Wilds.
Everybody's too busy playing the game to complain or talk about it, I guess. You know, that's the only conclusion.
Very
the
weird.
thing that's
shit.
fascinating to me is that like there's no, and this is not necessarily surprising, I guess. Let me check real quick just to make no ARC Raiders at all, but that's commanding the zeitgeist, you know.
Yeah, and I also wonder, like, are they reporting? You know?
Oh, true. Yeah,
I don't know. That's the thing about these charts is that they're it's 95% accurate. The real thing, there are things missing, like Ubisoft doesn't report any either. Assassin's Creed Shadows would be on this list. They pulled themselves off for some reason. And Nintendo, obviously, digital sales are missing. So this is incomplete and would look a little different should we have known that. But nonetheless, I think and Ghost Yote hanging on at number 10, Night Rain, 13, Kingdom Come Deliverance, 14. Split Fiction 18. Helldivers, because of the Xbox release, I assume, has bounced up to 19 for the year. So not so bad. But again, the Borderlands number is just so fascinating to me because Borderlands 2 especially was everywhere. Like you couldn't escape it. We talked about the shift keys and all these different things, and Randy Pitchford being all over social media and all the rest. It's a totally different environment where a game can sell that well and you wouldn't even know anyone was playing it. Very weird shit.
Yeah.
All right, Dustin, let's begin with you. What sticks out to you? We have the hardware numbers. PS5 was the best selling console of the month in November, but it seems like the console situation has collapsed precipitously. Maybe we're at a price tolerance wall at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting. Particularly too, I'm just thinking about. I think that also. That includes Switch 2. Which you think this was its first Christmas on the market. So a little weird. The most interesting to me here is Black Ops 7 slotting at number 7. And I'm curious, I'm assuming that's significantly worse than previous years. And so again, teasing our episode for next week. But one of the big stories of the year is the fall off of Call of Duty. Is this the beginning of something even bigger or worse? I guess those can be the same for Call of Duty in the future, and how it's going to shake out by the end of the year. Like I just don't see it shooting up that many spots before January.
We'll see.
Like this month.
Yeah, we'll see.
Especially just because it seems like they're putting it on sale already, which I don't think they normally do for December. They did that statement. So I wonder if a lot of that number 7 slot is just its initial sales. And part of the reason they're freaking out is that it's just was a colossal dive bomb after that.
Yeah, I would love to know more about what they're thinking about Call of Duty, and absorbing that deep cost of making those games is something no corporation really wants to do if you're not selling big. But a lot of people are focusing on the hardware sales are being soft, and I want to get into that as well. But software sales are also soft. I read a little less into that just by virtue of the way people are playing games. Like I feel like that's the reality. That's not. I think it sucks because I like those kinds of games and that's what I play. But really, the big tell will be overall cumulative gaming revenue, which will no doubt be up year over year. And so it's hard to really judge the software situation based on a lot of people don't buy games at all. So I can't relate, but I'm a fossil, as we've discussed before. Chris, does anything stick out to you here that you'd like to discuss?
It's just bizarre the hardware fall off, but I guess it's not necessarily surprising. I just feel like there's just a lack of I don't know, there's not a lot of hype moments or aura, that are driving people to the store to grab stuff, I guess. I don't know. I guess the fact that it's the lowest since 1995 is shocking. That to me is kind of weird. Like I don't know what to attribute that to necessarily outside of just people. Economy.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like the Black Friday deals were pretty steep. I mean, I've said this for years, and I think it's worth stating that, like, without differentiated numbers between all the different consoles, talking about the cumulative health of the hardware industry is a little disingenuous. Like, I'm not trying to be a dickhead, but we have one competitor who has fallen off a cliff. Right. That's just that number's being absorbed to the point where that next machine is outselling it, like, consistently now, right? And it's like that's not really a holistic view comparable to previous generations where there were more challengers. Even when Xbox and GameCube were falling off, and neither of them sold as well as the Xbox Series did, but they sold for longer. There's like a sales tail. And this price for the Xbox Series S and X, especially the X, are so high that it's like, well, they're almost not a contender anymore. And so then you have to really judge things based on PS5 and Switch 2. And that's what I think, Dustin, you were making the point. It's like Switch 2 is new. Maybe the theory of the case there is that there's a little bit of a saturation in that market as well. And that maybe there's a lot of people that use Switch that don't feel like they need to jump yet to Switch 2. They're not, they obviously, if they're playing Switch at this point, they don't care about power. So there's that factor as well. But I think it's what you were saying, Chris. It's like, it's just the economy. I think things are bad. I don't think that, obviously, like, we want the stock market to do well and all those things, but it's just a complete disconnect from that and the reality on the ground. The rich make more and more and more money, and that accumulates on these markets and makes the economy seem healthy. But it's really the people in the trenches that are struggling. And like, are you going to really go out and spend $400 or $500 on a piece of hardware? I mean,
yeah.
Now, I think this brings in the question. I actually, Statistical Barista wrote in about this and said, "Hey, CDC. Now that Circana has released the November sales data, and it is the worst performing November since 1995, is this the beginning of the end for console gaming and the transition into PC gaming becoming the dominant platform? You recently had a question, what would a sign be for Sony to start to leave the console space? Isn't the worst performing November, which is the most important month for sales, a clear indication? Hope you all have a wonderful Christmas and get a well-deserved break. Thank you." There is something to that, especially with the aggressive Black Friday sales that they've put out there. But I don't understand how that translates to the success of PC gaming, which is also becoming prohibitively expensive.
Yeah. If RAM by itself is exploding. So
right. If console gaming is too expensive for people, then how the fuck is PC gaming going to be affordable to them? That to me doesn't wash. That doesn't make any sense. So
yeah.
If things are becoming more expensive and you assume there's a price prohibition on people entering the market, then you would assume consoles would be the beneficiary. That's just obvious, right? I mean,
yeah.
So there's something else. Like that to me, if I were theorizing about it for some company and talking about what might the problem be, it's like, there's definitely a move towards PC gaming, no doubt. But having a PC capable of playing the games you want to play is a much more expensive proposition than buying a PlayStation 5. So I just don't see the connection personally. So it's something to worry about, and it's something that they're going to consider. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not so worried about it. I'm worried about it from that point of view. I'm more worried about like what this means for the gaming industry. Just in the gaming industry is a robust and resilient industry against financial downturns. And the last time we had a bad financial downturn, the gaming industry boomed. But it's because you can go out and buy a console for $400, $300. Games were $50 into the $60 era. Now I feel like things are just radically different. The economy seems to be shakier in a lot of ways. It's just a different systemic problem, and inflation is out of control and people don't make any money. So here we are. All right. Anything else to add before we move on?
No.
All right, my boys, it's time for what we're playing. Dustin, let's start with you.
Okay. So the truth is, I haven't been playing very much at all, but I have a few things to talk about that are interesting. What are you laughing about?
They made a fart noise, but you probably didn't hear it because I was done.
I thought maybe you actually farted.
Oh, no, I wish I did. I wish I had that kind of timing.
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, so I've been playing Metroid Prime 4, and I was hot on it. No, I wasn't like, this is amazing, but I was like, oh, this is good at the beginning. I got to be honest, I'm getting real bored. It's not bad, but I'm starting to understand the mediocre response to it. Honestly, I feel bad for Metroid Prime fans. You waited so long for this game. All 5
of you. Yeah.
Yeah. You waited so long, and I got to this part last night that involves another character that's not as bad as the Mackenzie guy, but it's like this girl that's like, she's like fangirling the entire time. She's like, "Oh, Samus, it's so cool to meet you." And she won't shut up. I'm like, okay. So
is that Samus Aran?
Is that Samus? So yeah, I was thinking about this last night, and I know everyone's going to be different about this, but I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm decent ways into this game. I honestly don't know. I would assume a little over half. And I'm like, I'm not really into this. Do I keep going to be like, yes, I finished Metroid Prime 4? Or do I just say,
Life's
Thanks,
too short.
man. Can't do it.
Life's too short, bro. Can't do it.
Can't do it. Thank you.
Can't do it, man. Sorry.
Can't do it, man. Sorry. I'm done. So I don't know. Right now, I have not decided if I'm going to keep playing it or not because there's just too much other stuff to play. The other game that I checked out lightly was the re-release of Tomba 2. And it's had some interesting controversy around this release. And I was curious to get your thoughts on this, Colin.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the game released, and it does not have the US soundtrack. It only has the Japanese soundtrack attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a surprise to everyone playing it, but there were hints. In the trailer, they used the Japanese soundtrack, but people were like, okay, whatever. I went into this thinking, okay, well, I played Tomba 2 in the last few years. This will be a new experience. I can kind of play it in a new way. Started playing it, and I'm like, this isn't as good. I was like, this is weird. Like, I'm not, like, there's something off. And the Japanese soundtrack just clearly isn't as good as the US
So what
soundtrack.
was the explanation? Who did this? Was it, is it a limited run?
Limited Run did the port.
So it's a licensing issue.
Well, that day, because people were refunding on Steam, people were leaving negative reviews. And so someone in a reply to a tweet, LGR said that it was the licensor's decision to use the Japanese soundtrack. So, okay. Also important to note, in the special edition, you can listen to the soundtrack in like a music player mode in the menu, and you can choose between the US and the Japanese soundtrack.
So they set it for that to be a default for some reason.
No, it's not. There is no option to use the US soundtrack in the game currently.
But it's there.
But it's there in the music player.
Oh, that would send me spiraling.
So they'll patch it probably, right?
Well, yeah, LGR. So LGR says no, it's the licensor's decision. Which, by the way, Tomba 1...
LRG, by the way, it's LGR.
LGR is Lazy Game Reviews.
Yeah, he has
I would never talk poorly of him.
He's already gone through a lot with the fucking
He's been through a lot.
Shit.
I would never, ever say a bad thing about LGR. LRG. They blame the licensor. And that night on release day, they post a tweet and say, a patch is coming to Tomba 2 with a little emoji of music notes. And then the following day, they release a statement. They're like, at Limited Run Games, our community of fans come first, dedicated to celebrating the classics, our Carbon team, blah, blah, blah. We're working on a patch. The patch will give fans the ability to enjoy Tomba 2 the way you remember it, and include both the original Japanese soundtrack and the US soundtrack. So less than a day, they're like, oh, we're working on a patch. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Interesting.
Weird.
So I was like, maybe the licensor, because I know that there's different deals with Limited Run and some of these people where maybe it was a 2-combo deal. Maybe the first one didn't sell as well, so they were kind of just quickly getting the second one out. I don't know what the deal was. But you're telling me that they were told, the licensor was like, oh, just use the JP version. And they weren't like, we're selling a nostalgia-based product to a very niche audience. They're going to want that. You know, it just, something about it stinks.
Yeah.
Something about it's weird.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're fixing it in the coming weeks. Oh, by the way, this is the weirdest part, is that when you play the game with the Japanese soundtrack, there are certain tracks that are the US soundtrack.
So what they must have done, the team must have been like, which version of which song do we like better? And then intersperse them as like a custom kind of thing.
Specifically, it's the music that when you talk to a character, there's this little doo 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 that's very nostalgic. And I was like, oh, okay, so maybe that was the same in both versions, is the talking to a character song. But then I went to that music player and it's different in the Japanese version. So I don't know.
Yeah, what's to be made of that? I don't know.
I don't understand. And I know that, I'm sorry, I know most people that listen to this podcast do not give a flying fuck about the Tomba 2.
Yeah, but I love stories like this. Like semantic stories like this, I think are really interesting, actually.
I resonate with this. I mean, dude, I remember when they were talking about Ape Escape coming to Ape Escape coming to the classics or whatever, and I remember being like, oh man, I really hope it's the American version, because like they might go with PAL, and the PAL version sucks. It's got like completely different tone. It's got completely different like voice acting. I think the music is different, although I'm not super sure about that one. But it's just it's a worse version in my opinion. So like I totally resonate with it. That would send me spiraling if I had like, oh yay, finally, and then like nothing is like what I remember it. It's like the whole reason I'm playing this is to remember it.
Right.
Yeah. It's and yeah, I was trying to be open-minded. Be like, oh, I'll try the Japanese soundtrack. It's not as good. It's not.
You can't do it.
So
Can't do it, man.
Can't do it, man. Thank you. So this was, kind of annoying. I am just going to wait for the patch. There's plenty of other things to play, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But it was just a little, and overall, if I'm venting, the package is just not as nice as Tomba 1. Tomba 1, they did interviews with some of the creators. They did a remastered soundtrack as well. And there was like all of these extras. There's a little bit of extras. There's like, oh, here's some of the concept art. Here's the different covers. It's nowhere nice as a package, as good of a package as Tomba 1 Special Edition was. And I get it. Maybe it didn't sell very well. And so they're like, let's just get this thing out here. But it just seems like such an easily avoidable blunder. Like, how could you not know? How could you have not fought? Be like, no. We got to have option for both. But
yeah, I think your theory about maybe like diminishing returns was true. And they're like, we have to at least release this other one. It's not really worth our while to do much more than that. But it's disappointing to hear. Yeah. And I'm sure that, I mean, I wouldn't want that to happen. That's kind of what happened to a degree, how I felt about it. Not as bad as how you feel about this because they didn't blunder really, but it's like the Lunar collection I'm always making fun of. I'm like, what is this? This is like,
what was wrong with that one again?
Just had nothing. It's just like no accoutrements, like just nothing going on in it. It's like you didn't do anything.
Bare minimum.
Yeah. So it is what it is. And now I was like, man, I'm ready to kind of start something new, but I'm just gonna wait for a break. I've been I organized a list of like what games I'm interested in playing over break.
Oh boy.
And I put like how long they are to beat. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll have an RPG and a non-RPG going on at the same time.
Yeah, that could work.
But my list, like, I'm like, is it time to play Suikoden? Is it time to play Lunar? Is it time to play Dragon Quest 3? Should I dip my toes into that Trails game that came out? So many options. I can't decide. But I'll have lots more to report when we come back next year.
I don't know what I'm going to do over break. We can talk about that, of course. Chris, let's go over to you. You're playing quite a bit here.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that space too of like I've got a lot of stuff in my backlog and I'm just trying to cycle around to different things and see what I'm feeling. I installed there's a bunch of stuff installed on my like I have Hades 2 sitting there. I got Chronos New Dawn sitting there. I got Soma sitting there. Because I got it for like $1 or something on some sale just by sheer happenstance when we were talking about it on one of the shows.
Yeah,
one of the shows that we
because that game Ontos, right, is the spiritual successor to it.
And I keep hearing about Soma, in fairness, so it's like there is a curiosity there as well. But I kind of went with a handful of things. So I'm playing The Outer Worlds 2 right now. I've started and restarted it because like I kind of realized like, I want to go with this build. I don't know how I'm feeling, but like, so I restarted early enough where I'm like, okay, I don't mind it. I don't know if I'm feeling it right now. I might not be in the zone for like a lot of, character choice and things like that. Like maybe I'm not in that headspace right now, but like it feels good to play, but I'm kind of I don't know, I'm playing it and I'm kind of like, I don't know if I care about what's going on right now, which is not the best sign. I can feel that it's good, but like I just like I might put this down, come back to it when I have a little bit more free time on my plate because I still have a lot of Snark Tank recording left for the next like week. But
oh wow, okay.
But I think and then so I was like, you know what? Let me just pick up and play something. Destiny 2. They got their Star Wars expansion, Renegades. I don't give a shit about Star Wars at all, but there are things I do like. I like the accoutrements. I like the soundscape, and I dig the art direction. So, like, yeah, maybe this will be a fun thing. The first level of these expansions are typically free, so you can play them without buying it, and then like you basically pay for the rest of it to get your resolution to the story, which I appreciate. And I do have to say, man, it's that first level is it really, they really Star Wars it up, man. Like it's every single trope. Like you find yourself in a garbage compactor. There's two people fighting with lightsabers and shit. Like there's a lot of the accoutrements there, but it weirdly works. And the level was good. It's just nice to be reminded of like how good Destiny feels, because it does feel so good, and I always forget. I'm still on the fence about whether or not I want to plop down money to get sucked into Destiny again. But the beginning of that expansion is pretty good. They do a lot of good work. Feels great to play. A lot of interesting new mechanics going on, but still feeling out whether or not I want to continue with it. The big thing I want to talk about, Skate Story. So this is a very, very indie kind of skate project by a guy named Sam Eng. It's very ethereal, very weird. You play as like a skateboarding demon made of glass, and your quest is to eat the moon, and there's a bunch of moons that you gotta eat, and it's weird. It's like this kind of in-between cross of, it's not quite arcadey like Tony Hawk, but it's not quite as like simulation heavy as Skate. It rests in this really interesting middle ground where you don't feel super powerful. You don't feel like it's like a power fantasy type deal. You feel very fragile. It even helps, like your character's made of glass, so like when you fall, you like shatter. It's a very interesting kind of feeling that it evokes. The soundtrack's really great. The setup is interesting and weird and sort of provocative. I'm really into it. But on my list in the document, I have parentheses PS5. And I have that specifically because I played the demo on my PC. I played the demo on Steam, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm into this, but I kind of want to play this on the couch. And so I downloaded it on PS5, and the PS5 version is fucked. I don't know what the hell's going on with like, maybe it's my look, PlayStation is weird. Like we had friend of ours have that whole Returnal situation. Right. I'm opening up that possibility. Maybe it's me, but like this thing runs so poorly that I can't even fathom how it's possible. Like it's not so much that the frame rate is bad, but it's like the pacing. Like it feels stuttery, even though it isn't. It feels jittery. There's not a lot of flexibility that you have on the console version to really remedy that. And it's a bummer because it's like somewhat nauseating to play. And I'm just like, man, I'm really into this. But what is this? I don't know if there's like a patch planned or if if the developer said anything. But I was really bummed out. Just kind of playing through it because I was like, yeah, this. I know this is cool, whatever this is, and I know I'm into this. But the way it's performing on this machine right now is like really not good. And I really do feel the need to mention that like the demo functions perfectly fine on my PC, and the full game is just it's very inconsistent on PS5, which is just a bummer. So I would recommend honestly. If you're curious about Skate Story, it is on PS Plus. That is how I played it before I committed to buying it, and I'm kind of glad I did. But give it a shot. See if it's true for you. Maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm like really sensitive to these things, but it feels just worse, like in every way, to the PC version. Which is a bummer because I was really looking forward to Skate Story. I think I'll probably keep going. I'm gonna try and see like maybe they've patched it. Maybe they will patch it. I don't know, because the game is really cool. Like the vibe. It's got like a very Tetris Effect kind of feel to it. It's very ethereal and kind of there's like a dark psychedelic nature to it. It's very off-putting but very encouraging. Soundtrack's dope. The characters you meet are very weird and uncanny. It's cool. Artistically, I just wish it ran better. But that's really all I'm playing right now. I have, like I said, there's a bunch of other stuff. I think I'm kind of nibbling on certain things to see like what I'm really gonna be sinking my teeth into over the break. But that's it for now.
Okay, fair enough. For me, I'm playing Marvel Cosmic Invasion is kind of my portal game right now. During football and hockey, I'm just kind of cleaning up trophies. You have to beat the game with every character, but you just have to beat the final stage with every character. So I'm kind of working towards that. But I went through the game and got all the collectibles and did all the challenges, and so just messing around with it. It's fun. It's a fun little beat 'em up. And we played it on Sacred Streaming, so you can go check out the VOD of that if you want. And then I am playing Dying Light, the Beast. I'm at the end of the game now. I think I'm at the last mission or the second to last mission. I've done all the side quests. I've done all of the encampment kind of things. They're like these power plants you have to bring online or whatever. So I've done most of it. I got to say, it's not very good. I'm a little surprised some people are high on it. I think it's weirdly paced and kind of boring. And maybe I'm just and not in the right mind space to be playing it or something. But again, I am incredibly partial to liking Dying Light because of how much I appreciate and love Dying Light 1. And so I went into Dying Light the Beast with hopes that it was going to be great, but it's not great. That's my opinion. But I talked about it deeply on Summon Sign, and you guys can go listen to my further thoughts on that. I won't belabor them here. And then the game I've been spending quite a bit of time with is Terminator 2D No Fate. Surge wrote in and said, "Greetings, sacred comrades. I've traveled back through time to tell you that Terminator 2D No Fate is a fun game, and skipping it will ensure humanity's dark fate. Wait, I'm receiving a message now that you've done a sacred streaming episode about it. The world is safe for now. Thank you for another year as the best podcasting network." Thank you so much, Surge, for writing in. Terminator 2D from Bitmap Bureau is a good game. I really like it. I beat it 3 times now. There are 3 different endings you can basically get. So you have to, like, in the game, it takes place during the events of Terminator 2. So like there are times like once you beat the game normally, then you can go back through and make certain decisions just a couple different times to change the outcome of the game. And it's cool. It's neat. And it gives you you got let's say 2/3 of the way through the game, and then you start making decisions, and then it kind of mixes things up a little bit. Some of them are like repurposed stages, or you're playing a stage with a different character from a different perspective. Some of them are totally new with like new boss fights and so on. So it's pretty cool. But I think the thing that kind of gets in my craw about this game, and I was saying it on when we were streaming the game, is that this is a really cool game. It has no business being $30. It just feels like a ridiculous price to pay for a digital version. I can understand a physical version being $50 or $60 or whatever. If you get all these accoutrements and you get the physical version, it's different. But it just speaks to either a ridiculous licensing fee. Plus, there is licensed music in the game, 2 songs specifically that really didn't need to be there. But it's cool that they're there. But I'm like, damn, you're paying. One of those songs in particular is like a very famous. Like we were speaking of time travel. Like when that song played on Sacred Streaming, they almost went back in time to strike that video. You know, and claim the ads on it. It's like one of those kinds of songs. Bad to the bone. So I'm like, is it the Terminator plus song licensing fees that have you charge $30 so it's kind of worth your while? The bigger problem is that the game can really be beaten in like 35 or 40 minutes. You can beat it all 3. If you know how to play it, you can beat it all 3 times fairly reasonable in about 2 hours, maybe a little more. And I just feel like from that perspective, I'm like, I'm not crazy about the price, the value proposition. I think if you're really into Terminator, then you should buy it. And it is, I don't know how long this will last, but I got 10% off for being on PS Plus. So it was $27, a little bit better. But there's a boss rush mode, which is cool. There's like some other options. There's an arcade option where like there's no continues, which means you basically can't die. So there are different options to play, but you're playing the same game over and over again. I will say the gunplay is fun. It's like a game it reminds me of, and this is what I was saying on stream, is it reminds me of an old Capcom game that I used to really love on NES called Codename Viper. But it's like Codename Viper meets Contra meets a bunch of, there are even bosses like the big room size machines, you know, like just like Contra. Like I love that shit. And so you can see that the inspiration is there. Very similar to a game I played last year that I really loved, Iron Meat, that people might remember I absolutely adored. So
yeah,
that game is awesome. That's an awesome fucking game. So this is a cool game in the Genesis SNES style. Really the making's more of a Genesis game, like a late Genesis game. And it's certainly beautiful. And they did a really nice job with it. The animations are pretty nice. The odes to the movie are great. But I think $20 or even $24.99, but $19.99 seems like a good price for this game. So, and I know people are very cost sensitive, so I'm just throwing that out there because presumably at one point it'll go on sale. But that's what I've been spending a great deal of time with. And as far as what I'm going to do over the holidays, Backpain wrote in and said, I predict that the return episode will have a Kingdom Hearts thumbnail and be dominated by Colin's enthusiastic report of how much he actually loved it. He'll say he loved it so much that he couldn't stop himself from playing Kingdom Hearts 2 immediately. So I do have to spend at least some of my time playing Kingdom Hearts 1 over the break, because though, Dustin, as you'll remember, I fulfilled the spirit of the deal. We have to be very literal. And so I will be playing Kingdom Hearts over the break. But there are a few other things. I think I got to get into tactics at some point, and I think Silksong, and then I'll leave it there. I mean, maybe I'll play other things, but I don't want to like overwhelm myself and feel disappointed or whatever when I didn't fulfill those goals. So that's what I've been playing and messing around with in my world. And Marvel Cosmic Invasion's good, and I recommend Terminator if you're a fan, but Dying Light I think is an easy game to pass on. What were you going to say, Chris?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, like, because I looked it up just out of curiosity, there is apparently a confirmed PS5 patch for Skate Story that has been launched since I played it. So apparently it's should be better. But I just wanted to make sure that was out there, because I know people are going to be saying there's a patch. It's like, I know. I'm excited to get back to it then.
All right. Let's leave it there and get into listener inquiries to wrap up this episode of Sacred Symbols. 6 questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, and ideas from the audience over on Patreon at patreon.com/lastdamedia. And this episode is going fairly quickly, although there's really not much to talk about. So we're easing into things. I know people are going to be like, oh, it was a short episode.
Come on, man.
Come on.
That's right. Come on, man. Come on, man. We gave the longest episode of Sacred Symbols of, I think, ever last week.
Yeah. And, well, I don't want to even spoil it. Never mind. Summon Sign, right, is going to be a beast.
Please be excited.
Please be excited about Summon Sign. KB wrote in and said, hey, gents. The CEO of CI Games took to Twitter to say that Lords of the Fallen 2 will, in fact, feature, quote-unquote, attractive female characters. In today's online climate, it feels like whenever a game is revealed, one of the first reactions we see is gamers complaining about the attractiveness or lack thereof of the protagonist. It almost feels like we've swung to the opposite end of the horseshoe curve compared to about a decade ago, where there was backlash over characters like Quiet from Metal Gear Solid 5 or the cast of Dragon's Crown. My question is this. Do you think studios are going to or should start leaning into attractive characters as a deliberate marketing tactic going forward? What say you? Thanks. Dustin?
Yeah, this is a tough one because from my understanding about this, like Lords of the Fallen 2 business, and they're trying to appeal to a very specific audience on Twitter with what they're saying about something like that. And I think it's annoying, if I'm being honest. I can understand some of the sentiment around like a lot of these characters in modern video games just looking weird. I think in particular, the situation that was funny was the Star Wars Outlaws, where the main character of that game was nowhere near, like they clearly could have just used the actual actor's face, but changed the character to look significantly worse. And maybe that was a creative decision. I don't know. But I'm kind of just like, whatever the developer wants to make their characters look like. Clearly, though, there is a renaissance going around of the sexy female lead. Of course, with Stellar Blade, they've kind of, with Tomb Raider, reverted back to her older look, which when we talked about this at some point, we were like, listen, Tomb Raider, Lara Croft was always hot.
Yeah. You're crazy if you don't think that like the last Lara Croft was good looking, but nonetheless, this one, I was surprised by how glamour shot she looks almost in the new one. Like she looks great, but I was even surprised. She's hot enough, I think, for everyone now. Laura.
Yeah. So the whole conversation, oh, she's not hot enough is so annoying. Like, bro, we've touched on this multiple times the past few weeks. It's like, turn off the hub, bro. Like, you just, why do you have to have this gooner mindset constantly about everything?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
I find it weird. Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
I think it's kind of one of those things where it kind of comes across. I feel like you're better off just doing it. You know what I mean? Just like do the thing. I feel like saying you're gonna do the thing is kind of like more embarrassing. Like, because now I'm gonna be looking at it. It's like, all right, well, let's see.
Yeah, right.
You know, like let's see how hot she really is. And then I'm gonna be judging it like way harsher. It's just like, just if you want to make an attractive character, just do it. I'm only ever really bothered by these types of things if it's like, if there's a character that exists, and then there's backlash about how it's too attractive or whatever, it's like too unrealistic, and then through pressure of some kind that's changed, because ultimately that's like an original artist's vision that's then being corrupted by all sorts of like that. To me is like the most annoying part of it. It's not the principle of having like attractive characters in games, it's the principle of letting artists do what they want to do. And so if they want to make a game full of attractive characters, like I don't give a shit, fine, cool. It didn't really save the first Descendant, but like it'll
forgot about
you
that.
know, it'll be, you know, it's not going to knock against you for sure. So yeah, do it. I just think it comes across as like the other side of like, this kind of comes across as like if there was like a studio where they had a PR statement that said like, we're committed to making characters that don't appeal to the male gaze or whatever, you know what I mean? Where like it seems like the other side of that, where it's just like, just make your game. I don't need to hear like this weird fantasy that you have about like making this. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, right.
I don't give a shit.
The Lords of the Fallen 2 thing though does seem reactionary in a way to, didn't the game launch with character style A and B in it? I'm pretty sure.
I think so. Yeah,
that's the case. And so like that like kind of, I don't know how that got by. And then they had a kind of a tone for that. I'm pretty sure that's the story. And so maybe there's like, you have to kind of say that in order to be fair to like what they're specifically saying is like, no, we like chicks. We want them hot, you know, but at the same time, I'm with you guys where I just think you got to make the characters you want to make. And
right.
I think people like beautiful people, beautiful things, beautiful scenery. There's no doubt about that. But I think that the full texture of life requires you to look past that. Not everything. In other words, Final Fantasy VII is one of those examples where it's like in the remakes and in the original, it's like everyone's beautiful, right? Even Red 13's kind of hot, but but you know, Sid looks great, and you know, Yuffie looks great, and obviously Tifa, Aeris, you know, Cloud, Barrett, like everyone looks good. They're well dressed. They're stylish. That's cool. I love that. But yeah, there's the other side of that, which is like not the real world, but a representation of reality, of downtrodden, you know, average, that's cool too. And I think I agree with you, Dustin, where it's like, I feel like this Gooner style, and the audience knows I've always been pretty prude. I'm just being honest with you. I'm a kind of a prude person, just not in terms of what people do and how they live their lives, but like, I don't need to see it. Like, I don't need, I always got really disappointed in like the sex scenes in Game of Thrones. It's like, come on, man. Like, this is so gratuitous. Like, I don't want to see this, you know? And that's just the way I am. But I understand a lot of people aren't built like that. But there seems to be such a hyper focus on aesthetic that it's like, it's disturbing. And I'm not trying to I want to be clear. I understand full well I'm not God's gift to women. I get it. I don't ever bring up really people's looks or anything because I know I'm an average person, right? I'm not trying to, but like, why is it that the people that always rail against this stuff happen to be like often decrepit? Right? Like your looks match, sir, is a woman that looks like Duke Nukem. Right? I don't know why we're like so fixated on all of this shit, and then people throwing stones from glass houses about who's hot and who isn't and what it's like, shut up. Yeah. You know, that's why I make fun of a lot of things, but you'll never really hear me making fun of someone's like, this person's ugly or something. It's like, I would never say something like that because I understand what time it is with me. Like, I don't want people to make fun of my looks. Right. And so maybe have a little more self-awareness. That could also go a long way, in my opinion. But generally speaking, I just think I am disturbed by the over-sexual. I think there is something, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but because I think Mike and I have talked about this in the past, maybe on a different show, but there's something in my opinion, so hot about the sexual repression of like the Victorian era, or like the flirtation, the game, like the pretty girl, but you don't know what's under the dress. Like there's no hint. Like to me, that's so much more attractive in a way than you're just scrolling through Twitter and it's like, oh, girl in bikini or whatever, or people are on Instagram or whatever. And it's like, I don't like this. It all just washes. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, it's like, how many of the same thing can you see over and over again? Oh, it's more boobs. It's more boobs in video games. Like, come on, man. Like, are you serious? Come on. It's just so, sexuality is important, but it can't be like your defining feature.
I feel like people used to be more normal about it too. Like, I don't know. Like, I think even back in like the Dead or Alive days, right? Most people felt uncomfortable playing that around other people.
Right. Like literal jiggle physics and all the rest. Right. It was ridiculous.
Like, we understood like, look, it is what it is. I do feel a little bit shamed playing this in some capacity. Now it's like there's no shame at all. It's kind of like, all right, well, we don't got to go this hard. And look, to be fair, I do think there is there are legacies that do need to be upheld, I guess. Like, look, you're not gonna, if you make a Street Fighter game and Cammy is chopped, I'm coming for you.
Right, of course. Right,
you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that to Cammy.
I love that term, by the way. That new term, chopped. That everyone, I think it's so funny for some reason.
But like, you can't. But like, if you're making a new world and like a new character or whatever, or like even if it's like something like that's a reflection of an old character, like Tomb Raider, like I and making it more realistic. Like, I still feel like, and we mentioned it before, like, a beautiful woman in all three of those games. Like, I don't really, it's just realistic. But I also think truth be told, I do think a lot of people, Insomniac also struggle a little bit with like, because dude, like Mary Jane in Spider-Man 2 looks like Tim Minchin. It's fucking crazy. It's really fucking strange. And I don't think it's like an intentional thing, genuinely. I do think it's about like engines and lighting and like all these different things that like are kind of outside of the expertise of certain studios where like, I mean, dude, one of my favorite games of all time, like Halo 3, I love. If you look at the cutscenes for the original Halo 3, like some of those characters look like, what have you done to this man? Looks like a clay pot of boiling piss. It's insane. It's horrifying. But so it's like, it's more of a specialty thing too. And I think certain studios are better at it and other studios like, so I don't think like there's like a grand conspiracy to make people unattractive. I do think there's a general kind of art design in place or a general philosophy that wants to make games look more realistic. And as things become more realistic, it's harder to kind of exaggerate the types of features that are typically just like objectively beautiful. Like, you're going to see more flaws in a character the more realistic they look. This is kind of the nature of it. And some studios are better at handling that balance than others. I don't think it's like I think
they could have made Mary Jane look better than that. In that engine, though.
I think
I don't know what that was all about. It was weird. It was weird because she's supposed to be. I'm not usually sympathetic to these arguments, but she is supposed to kind of be the girl next door. Yeah, right.
Well, she's literally a model. Like,
it's like, come on, man. Like,
and she looks better in the first game, also, which is just I don't know what they've done. I don't know. Insomniac struggles with that a little bit. They're not. They're not great at making realistic looking characters, but that's why I think they shine in like something like Sunset Overdrive. I think Sunset Overdrive character designs in that game look great because they're exaggerated. But we're picking on Insomniac for some reason, but it's, I don't know. It's the gooner mentality is so weird.
We're picking on them for some reason because they made MJ look pedestrian and she's not supposed to. Anyway, but that's fine. I mean, it didn't ruin the game for me like it seemed to ruin the game for a lot of other people. Great. Dustin, what were you going to say?
So I wanted to hop in because I found the tweet that's referencing this, and I wanted to be fair to Marek Tominsky. Maybe I'm saying that right.
No, that's right.
He says, many of you asked why the game initially had body type AB. Hexworks started early 2020 as an autonomous studio owned by CI Games. Early on, political correctness and filtering meant not every decision reached me on time. I get a lot more involved from late 2024 and now act as studio head alongside my CEO role. Things are very different now, and the studio got fully integrated. We reverted a lot of wrong decisions. Will continue improving. Lords 2 is being built on real player feedback, and it's crystal clear in these last 2 trailers. And then someone followed up and said, I'm going to buy the game, definitely. Will there be attractive female characters? And will there be revealing outfits and armor for them? And he responded, yes.
Right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Fair enough. I didn't even want it. That's totally fair. And I know that actually, because I did read all of that, but I wasn't even trying to. It's important to correct the record. I wasn't bringing it up because he said it specifically. This person's asking, is that something you should lean into? But you're right. You're absolutely right.
I wasn't trying to correct you. I was just because I know I came out and was like, why would you just come out and say this? But it's like he was asked.
Right.
But still, he came out to be like, we're not politically correct anymore. We ain't liberal.
Good.
You know, he didn't say that.
I mean, the liberal part was
what it felt like.
There, but political correctness stuff is, it's good. You shouldn't be. You're a creative. That's the exact opposite of political correctness. It makes no sense. Right. You're not an academic. You don't work for the government. You're a fucking artist. Get over it.
Right.
So again, it goes into. I think games should represent all every people. Again, people like beautiful things, beautiful people. You know, I totally get that, but I actually think it would be incredibly boring if everything looked sterile like that. And I think it all depends on the game, the product, what you're trying to go for. And I think people's interpretations are just crazy because, again, the Tomb Raider thing is just so funny to me. Like you had brought up, it's just like, are you blind? Why are you gay?
Why are you gay? I don't know. It just comes across as like trying to. I don't know, man. This comes up a lot too of just like the comedian on stage at his like 15th Netflix special saying like he can't say anything anymore. It's just like it's not really brave to I understand like it's trying to come across like look at me, I'm standing up to the system, but like brother, like you could be working at Cinnabon and call a Somalian woman a slur and make $30,000 in a day. Like it's like it's not. This isn't like I don't know what you're fine. Just make the damn game. Like I don't care. It's so annoying. I hate how everything is like this weird like pedestal to step on. Make a good game, and then people will care. There you go.
Yep.
I don't know if many people. I don't remember how like well received the first what is it because this is Lords of the Fallen 2, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have any context for the first one. I remember hearing that it ran kind of poorly, so I didn't. But also, it seems like a long ass game. It's not my style of game anyway. But
they did like a major overhaul, and people liked it a lot more after the 2.0. So
cool. Good for them.
Ruffum wrote in, said, hello, CDC. With the recent Bloomberg interview of Larian Studios CEO admitted on using AI for the upcoming Divinity game, along with the resurfaced article from outlet El Pais about Sandfall Interactive using AI-generated art for the textures in Expedition 33. Should there be more disclosure from developers and publishers if their games are using AI? Do you believe Game of the Year winner Expedition 33 is still deserving for winning as many awards as the Game Awards, including Best Art Direction because of this? Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to everyone at LSM. This is making the rounds a lot now too, and there's multiple things to pull at here, Ruff. I mean, I think the first thing is, I think that eventually there should. I don't know if there'll ever be an ESRB like establishment. There might have to be because the government might otherwise get involved to make it clear if AI is used in the creation of something. But I think it depends on how you categorize AI because AI already kind of has been being used for years.
Yeah. Procedural generation,
right? Exactly. Like with trees and shit and like, foliage and all of that. I do have a problem with the way people are using AI, or at least the way they're saying they're using AI. I actually talked to my brother about this recently where I don't know if you guys agree with this. I find it weird as fuck. Like, so not just a little weird. Just to be clear, I find it profoundly weird when I hear a studio or someone from a studio saying like, yeah, we used AI to generate like the feel, like show us this, or what does this look like kind of thing. Try to like kind of, sketch things out. And I'm like, that's literally the fundamental aspect of creating a video game. You're offloading it, like the actual creative art.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think it's strange. And I don't know. My big thing with AI is not so much its utilization as much as like what problem it's trying to solve. What's the problem? Are the games too expensive to make? You better figure that out. Are the games taking too long to make? Better figure that out. We don't need that because the end solution is like, this makes it easier for us to make more games and put them out quicker. And it's like, but there's no need for that.
Right.
We don't need more quick. We need less slow. If anything, the arguments are against. So there's only like a corporate economic reason. And I think you're seeing this in AI a lot with just the integration of it and how no one really like it's being forced into people's lives where you don't really need it. And then people are relying on it. And I find it weird. I think it's a great tool. I love asking it questions and it's showing me like, what's the answer to this question? Show me some sources for that. It's so different than saying like, show me an environment with trees and orcs running around and all. I don't know, man. I find it grating too, but I also know it's inexorable and it doesn't matter. I'm not going to change anything. So that's where I stand. Yeah. Chris?
I don't know. I think, well, it's funny that this was in relation to, the question is asking, it's like, does it mean that Expedition 33 is less deserving of some of the awards, including Best Art Direction? I was actually under the impression that Best Art Direction was one of the few awards that I don't know if it should have won. I think maybe
I actually agree with you. I don't think it's a particularly beautiful game to me. There is beautiful parts of it, but I'm not like, that's not what blew me away about it.
I think there's cool parts of it, but like I think that like something like Hades 2 or really I think any number of games could have competed in that category and done very, very well. So as far as I'm concerned, like the most compelling parts of Expedition 33 don't really have anything to do with the AI components of it. And it's the same reason that I feel about Arc Raiders. Like the AI voices in Arc Raiders are probably like, they're the dumbest thing in it, but they're also like the least, like, I don't think about them at all when I'm playing. Like, I'm not thinking about like, oh boy, this game is great in particular because of the AI voice lines. It's not the thing that sets it apart. If it had won, if we found out that like, best narrative, and then the script was written by ChatGPT or something, like that would be a different situation. You know what I mean? Because that's like, well, that's the whole reason. Like that's the whole reason your game sticks out in the first place, and it was offloaded to like a bunch of stolen malware. Like that's crazy. I'm not a fan of it. Like I'm not a fan of really any of this being used. I get why like there's like a bit of a gray area because like you said, like there's a I can't remember what the tree software is called. I used to know. Speedtree. There's like Speedtree and there's like procedural generation and there's like all these AI tools. My line personally is I don't want AI generated content in the 1.0 or like the publicly facing build of the game that I'm playing. Like I don't want to see anything that was made by just a fucking algorithm that was like stolen from other places. Like that's my line. I also think it's weird to use it for like placeholder stuff, but I think it's like more reasonable. Like I could see why somebody would be like, yeah, you know what? This texture isn't done yet. We have people working on it. Let's just see how this feels like in the moment. With like some, like, I think the thing with Expedition 33 was like, there were newspaper clippings on like a pole or something like that, and it was kind of like it was like a placeholder thing that's supposed to just give you the feel of like a bunch of papers there, which they then replaced with like real ones. Like I don't mind that so much. I'm not a fan of like the slippery slope that it leads people down. I think you're better off creatively just not relying on those tools at all. But in my opinion, like Arc Raiders having like AI voices in the game at launch, like as a point, is actually like that's worse to me in my opinion than placeholders or whatever kind of pre-development stuff you would want to do. Although then there's the argument of like, well, what if we use it for concept art? It's like, well, there's concept artists.
Right. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. So it seems like some teams are using it for concept art. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy.
Right.
That's like that's nuts. That's like the very foundation of your game. The very essence of it is the concepting. Both from an artistic standpoint and from a design standpoint and a production standpoint, it doesn't
it's such a great, like, there's no,
Weird.
it's a weird area to figure out because it is this, like, if I have a script, like, let's say I'm writing, like, even just on my level, like, let's say I'm writing a YouTube video and then I throw it into like an AI and I say like, I want to put an interesting spin on this. Give me a weird spin. And then it tells me a bunch of spins and I think they all suck. Right. But in that process of elimination of like realizing, well, that doesn't work, I come up with something on my own that has nothing to do with those premises. But I only got there because I was eliminating every option. That's a creative line of thought that exists purely with me, but I used AI to get there, but it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's a very weird kind of area to regulate. Like, I don't know how you really get away from this. It's weird. I'm not a fan, personally. I would, at the very least, I would like to know if AI is being used. That's what I want. I want like a sticker or something, or like in the, not even in the credits, on the box, on the cover, brother. Like, that's what I want. Like, next to the M rating.
Yeah, sure. That might end up happening. The M rating is voluntary. The SRB, obviously, you have to keep the government out. And I wonder if they'll do the same thing in the future if this becomes a big commercial problem for them, where it's like, we feel like this is dishonest. And then the government's like, well, you either govern it yourself or we'll govern it. And then you'll start seeing those kinds of labels. We'll see. Dustin, do you have anything you'd like to add to this conversation?
Yeah. It's a tough one. I feel like in the case of Clair Obscur, where from what it seems like, Chris mentioned the placeholder asset that was there, that then to my understanding, like very quickly replaced, probably because I would take them at their word saying it was a genuine accident and they had the real asset ready. Maybe not. Maybe they lied about it. I don't know. And now also with the case of Larian, it's not ideal, certainly. And my line for sure is like, I definitely wouldn't want AI generated assets in the game. And of course, that brings in Arc Raiders 2, which is like, show me something compelling with what you're doing. And maybe we can talk then. But I think my whole thing with all of this controversy around these two games is I feel like we're fighting the wrong battle about this when we have a slew of AI generated slop that is flooding our primary marketplaces that we interact with these products / works of art. And everyone hates it, but it's like no one's doing anything about it. And I think that in some ways, and we've talked about this before, where it's like the genie is out of the bottle. My prediction, I'm maybe pulling this out of my ass, I don't have any concrete word on this, is that most big AAA games are using AI way more than you think.
Yeah, I think that's what's been coming out even in the past few days, is like kind of this idea that like you have no idea how deep it might go with some, you know, and yeah, go ahead. You have more.
And I just think that AI is going to become bigger, whether we like it or not. And I do think that there should be some level of, I guess, I don't know if policing is the right word, of purely AI generated assets in things and it taking the place of real creativity. Absolutely. But at the same time, AI can be used as a very helpful tool to help things along. In some cases, will it come at the expense of people's jobs? Unfortunately, probably yes. But in other cases, it will just allow people to be more efficient and create things more quickly. I've used this example before and I've taken heat for it, but I honestly think it's because people just do not understand that, like, when I make a thumbnail and I bring in a picture of Colin or of Chris, there's a button that does an auto outline to cut them out. And then so I can remove them from the image and put them in something else. Is that, it's an AI tool? Is that okay? Is that permissible by people? To me, it should be, because it's like, okay, I could go and manually outline each person.
Yeah.
You know? And also it's like, it's not taking from a hive mind of other people's work.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Or it's like,
that's the differentiating factor, I think, is like there's tools that are made simpler, and then there are tools that just straight up steal, like generative tools that generate unique assets. There is a difference between these things, I think.
Right.
It's the difference between, I don't know, it's the difference between a lot of these. Like, I feel the way AI exists in its current form, and by the way, it's annoying that we even call it AI, because it's not. Like, that's like a really irritating thing to me too, is like, this is not AI. If it was real AI, it would be actually very interesting. But it's like, it's just a repository. It's like a server full of stolen information. That's all it is. So we haven't like created like a thinking brain or anything. I just feel like a lot of this is the difference between a tool made more refined and a tool that steals. That's the primary difference between the tools that we're talking about.
Yeah. Because that, like, it goes further with, like, people are using some of these AI based tools all the time. I mentioned the cutout, but like, there's also a tool, I think I mentioned this on the show, where if your image doesn't quite fit your canvas on Photoshop, you can use something called generative fill. There's 2 versions of this. There's one of them that goes to the Adobe cloud and uses that hive mind that we were just talking about. And there's one that looks at the image that you've put in the program and then generates like a little bit more of the sky based on the image you put in. They are both AI, but very different. And so it's really important, I think, that people start to, you can't just be like, I hate all AI, because you're going to hate everything very soon. Yeah. Like, we have to try to differentiate what these different aspects of these tools do, and whether or not certain aspects we deem are okay or not. We can't just have a blanket, all of it's bad. So
I agree with what you're saying, and I think I don't like the semantic argument of like, well, yeah, it's like you're saying like, well, this, if you don't like this, then you don't like that. And I'm like, you have to just, it's to what you're saying. You have to know the difference. And I shouldn't have to explain the difference between a computer rendering art for you, or writing text for you, or doing other things, and cutting out a face on Photoshop. If you don't understand the difference between that, then I guess we really can't have an intellectually honest conversation. But I still get back to this core point. This seems to be the way that they're discussing, or the way we fear AI being used. Let's say that the way we fear AI being used seems to go to solve problems that do not exist. And it might be a problem for you if your game's too expensive, or if it's taking too long, but offloading it to the computer is not a solution. And if you're concepting shit on a computer with AI, that to me, listen, I'm not writing the most sophisticated stories for our games. I don't do like the most sophisticated design work or anything like that. But it has never once crossed my mind to ask ChatGPT to do it for me. Never. That's the fun part.
Right.
It's like, it's making it up. It's the fun part. Like, that's the easy part, is being like, this happens, then this happens. And let's write some text, and let's write some dialogue, and let's make some stages, and let's do, like, that's what you're supposed to want to do. If you're not doing that, then you're not really foundationally making video games.
Right.
You are getting ideas from a computer. And that's kind of pathetic. And I really feel like real creatives wouldn't want to do that. And they'd understand the difference between SpeedTree and other much more seemingly nefarious options for getting your work done. And but I'll say this, and I there's nothing that's going to stop this from happening. I understand that. I understand that there are important things that it can do and will do and are doing and is doing. And I understand that I can't control consumer behavior, so that it might all not even matter if all this stuff comes from computers, because people just want quote unquote good things. And that's the major thing, is for me, is people so hyper focused on AI's deficits. Ooh, it's got 6 fingers. I'm like, dude, just give it a few years. You better you better start arguing about something else. If you want to look, you're not going to find any imperfections in a few years. So you better start focusing on what really matters about this, which is it at its core, not its execution or what comes out of it, but like what it is doing. And people are totally missing the forest for the trees on that. Look how shitty this looks. Look, I'm like, oh my God. You're going to need to find a new, I'm guaranteeing you're going to need to find a new argument very soon. I got to say, I see things regularly now with these new AI videos where I have to like look twice to be like, is that real? That like seems crazy. Because you see crazy shit on the internet all the time. That's real. So then you're like, is this real?
Not anymore.
Yeah,
it's over now. Like it's. I think I said a while ago that like we really took for granted this like brief period in human history where you could genuinely like trust that footage that you were seeing was at the very least real. Even if it's fake, it's real. You know what I mean? Like somebody had to go fake it. You know, somebody had to orchestrate it. Whatever. Like we took for granted this brief period because we thought it'd be here forever, but it was like really like. It was really like 20 years of like, you could trust what you were seeing, basically. At least on the basis that what you were seeing happened. Now it's over. It's all gone.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for writing in, Rougham. It's your fault.
Yeah.
Wheat Thin wrote in. Little Wheat Thin says, happy holidays, CDC. A couple of weeks ago, you all discussed the DRAM shortages and how they affect pricing across the industry. Something Dustin mentioned has stuck with me, and I wanted to push this conversation further. In reference to purchasing PC parts, Dustin said you should probably buy a pre-built PC to save on the final cost. In my own circles, I've started to notice a slow trend of PC players who once did custom builds moving toward pre-built PCs, citing a combination of these deciding factors: cost, convenience, and hardware availability. To me, these are the 3 points that resonate with console purchasers especially. Do you see a trend like this growing with the increasing component shortages? And if so, how do you forecast if it could affect the console space moving forward? If console manufacturers can maintain lower prices by placing large component orders, can we see a reality where PC players transition to the PS6 or Xbox with Steam integration? I hope you and your families have a wonderful holiday season. I'm incredibly grateful for the content you and everyone else at LSM has provided over the years. I love this question because what it asks, Dustin, is it possible of a reverse migration? We always assume things are going to PC. I think that's happening. But there is a intellectual argument to be made that pricing will be so prohibitive that it actually might send people in the other direction ultimately. Do you think that that's possible?
Certainly. There's just news the other day. I didn't read into it too deeply, but there's something about NVIDIA lowering their amount of stock by like 30% next year for the 50 series. And who knows, maybe that's because they're not selling well or something, but either way, it's shaky ground. And of course, the DRAM situation going around is absolutely insane. And so, I could absolutely see there becoming a market. I don't know if it will push people to consoles. I think it could in some situations, but the Steam machine, maybe it's not the Steam machine that is the device that people go to, but much like Steam Deck, it's probably going to create an entire new section for the PC market of manufacturers making pre-built machines that are smaller form factor and designed for the living room that run SteamOS. So the issue though is that they are still also affected by the DRAM shortage. In fact, the rumor right now is that the reason Half-Life 3 wasn't announced is because Valve is kind of unsure about the Steam machine right now and what they're going to have to do because of the DRAM prices. So the whole like thing a few weeks ago where I said buy a pre-built PC right now is because those RAM chips were already part of that package. So those pre-built PCs are going to go up as well because of the RAM situation. It's just that was the stock that they had already purchased at a lower price. So, and I guess how this affects, PlayStation, Xbox, Tom a few weeks ago had that report that PlayStation wasn't going to be affected in the short term because they had the savvy to buy in advance, but it certainly could affect them in the long term. And yeah, they'll get a reduced price because they're not they're buying it bulk, first of all, for the console. And second, they're not buying them to be chips that can be swapped in and out like a PC. But I think everyone's kind of fucked in the long term if they don't figure out what to do in terms of both DRAM and also just like video cards and stuff like that. Those chips, they're so in demand because everything uses them. Cars, like self-driving cars, have a video card in them. And so, yeah, moving forward. And the big thing, of course, AI.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just sucking those things up as fast as possible. So it's not a good looking future for hardware pricing across the board, in my opinion.
Yeah, other places in the world are going to need to start building a lot more plants too. But these plants in America that they're finally building to fabricate silicon can't happen soon enough. Like,
yeah, the problem is they just take so long to make. And they're so fucking expensive.
Yeah, it's once we get those plants, I think they're in Arizona and maybe Nevada or something. Like once those get up, hopefully at least domestically, things will become a little easier, and that'll remove tariffs too for any of the stuff you're bringing in or whatever. Because I think Taiwan Manufacturing or whatever is doing those factories, and those are that's like the big company that but I'm not obviously an expert in this. Chris, how do you feel? Do you think that like there could be I guess by economies of scale, a counter migration from PC to console simply because really only Sony and Nintendo could leverage, and Microsoft, but they're not selling consoles, but they can leverage substantial savings in economies of scale that some other companies, even fabricators, can't necessarily afford?
I don't really know. I don't think it speaks. I just think everything's kind of I think everything's kind of fucked right now. Like, I don't know if there's going to be much movement in either direction. Like, I'm sure there will be, obviously, like statistically there must be, but like, I don't know if this is going to necessarily spark some kind of mass migration from one thing to the next. I think a lot of people who are in the market for a new PC are people who already have a PC that they're just kind of not super happy with, or like that they could stand to improve. And so I think what the more likely outcome is that people are just kind of going to try and get by with the rigs that they currently have for as long as they possibly can, and probably just wait out whatever is going on, which, you know, good luck considering everything. I mean, AI is going to, all these AI data centers are going to be a massive drain on everything. So like, I don't know. I don't know if I foresee a particularly good outcome for really anybody right now.
In the short term, we need much more nuclear power. In the long term, Dyson Sphere.
Ooh.
Just build that bad boy around the sun. Blot out the starlight, get all of the energy of the sun. We'll become a Kardashev type 2 civilization at that point. Very exciting. It's never going to happen, of course.
No.
Yeah, it's all in. I don't know, man. AI does seem like it's going to be incredibly valuable in all these different ways, and I think it's quite remarkable and it's exciting in a lot of different ways. But does it really necessitate this level of demand? You're seeing the economy respond in such a way that there is such a deep fear in missing out on this and not being the one that lacked integration. And it just is going to create a bunch of losers, and we're the biggest losers of all because it's just driving our component prices up for 80% of these companies. A lot of the shit's going to end up in a fucking landfill. So they're just going to bulldoze over some of these data centers at some point, just bury them into the ground. But yeah, even more than silicon availability, which is a bummer, is just the power situation. And it's becoming crazy, like how much power they're using, and it's unnecessary and unacceptable. So we got to figure that out. By the way, I want to be clear. I don't think this reverse migration will happen, but I think it's within the realm of possibility based on economics, the economic situation, inflation, economies of scale, all of the rest. We'll put it on Kalshi and we'll see how people feel about it. Likelihood that PC gamers will go back to console. I'm only kidding. We won't do that. Feckless Foister wrote in, It said, hello, sacred gentlemen, and thank you for all the consistently awesome content. I am getting carpal tunnel surgery this Friday on my dominant right hand for reasons that I swear are not gooning related. As a result, I may need to take a hopefully short break from most gaming. While I will be out of commission from playing most of my usual types of games, I figure I might still be able to play some less demanding games one-handed, like visual novel types games like Ace Attorney, Doki Doki Literature Club, or even some turn-based RPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics. Do you find, gentlemen, have any suggestions for games I could play in my one-handed state for non-gooner reasons? Giggity, giggity. You're saying it too much.
Yeah, now
to
I'm
the
like,
point where
now
I assume 100% you gave yourself a gooner injury.
Yeah.
What should you play? So big recommendation for me, and I'll be curious if you guys have any one-handed recommendations, is Civilization. That's a great game to play with one hand. You really just need, I mean, if you could play with a mouse, that would be ideal. But even if on a D-pad, you're really just going to be clicking around and using X. I wonder if maybe the Access controller would be good for you in some way while you're recovering from what you swear up and down is a non-gooner related injury, and yet you keep bringing up that it's a non-gooner related injury, making it seem again like you're hiding something. So I think you've erred.
I'm doubtful.
Chris, any recommendations for one-handed gaming?
Yeah, dude, Vampire Survivors.
Oh yeah.
Vampire Survivors is it's more action, obviously, but it is so good for one hand specifically. Like, I was actually surprised at, like, I guess it's like obvious when you're kind of playing it that you only need one hand to do it. But it wasn't until like I was at a friend's house and we were kind of doing the couch co-op thing, and I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I'm eating and I'm playing at the same. This is the life right here, man. This is good stuff. But yeah, Vampire Survivors is really the only one that I can really recommend. I don't really play a lot of pure turn-based games, so like that's more Colin and Dustin's wheelhouse. But of the games that I've played, Vampire Survivors is like the obvious, like the best, like one-handed game that I can think of right now. I'm sure there's probably some others, but that's the one that sticks out to me the most.
That's a great selection. Dustin, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking. I found on Steam there is a curator called One Handed Gamer, which curates games that I mean, this is PC, but I would assume some of these would translate over. And that's if I could only game with one hand, it probably would be best to use a mouse, I would assume, even if it is your left hand. But here's the thing. Quit like, I only have one hand. I can only play, turn-based game. No. If I could only play with one hand, I'm figuring out how to beat Sekiro with one hand.
Oh, yeah.
Just to say that I could.
Yeah.
Like,
that's badass.
That might be kind of cool. It might be kind of badass to figure out how to play some of these games with one hand. Maybe with the Access controller, as you said, Colin. But I think you hit it well with Civilization. Is like, this is the time, dude, to play Civilization.
Oh, definitely. This is a really cool. I'm on Steam now on the curated list. This is a cool idea to like. Each one says like, so for instance, Final Fantasy Tactics is on here. Both mouse and keyboard. 95% of the game can be played with the mouse only, but there are a few things like renaming characters that can only be done with the keyboard. So like, it gives you very, very granular advice for those that are disabled or whatever, which is pretty neat. I like. All right. Oh, I scrolled up accidentally. What's the next inquiry? There it is. Shuhei Yoshida's constant clicking wrote in. So good afternoon, detectives. That's a pretty deep cut, by the way.
That is a deep cut.
That's because when I had Shuhei on once, he was like clicking something for like the beginning, and I eventually was like, what is that?
He had a fidget toy.
Yeah. There's been a murder, and you're the only ones we can trust to solve it. A week ago, a new player in town was unceremoniously bumped off at the lavish birthday bash of one Jeff Keighley. The victim? A young upstart by the name of Highguard, also known in some circles as Horse Concord. He was minus 7 weeks old. Who was responsible for this? Did Jeff knowingly place the victim in harm's way by making him the center of attention at the finale of the party? Did Highguard himself overestimate his own importance and put himself in the firing line? Was he the victim of a cruel conspiracy led by Concord developers to draw attention away from their own crimes? The game is afoot, gentlemen. Thank you for writing in. There are some people that worked on Concord working on this game, by the way. I was like, oh boy.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh,
Not
no,
even because
no.
they don't have the talent to do so, but because they're very likely to be attached to another of these kinds of games. Although maybe it won't be that bad for this game. I don't know. It's not looking good. I'll say that. this is an understated story because I got to go back and look at like the grand finale game at each Game Awards, even going back to Spike and all of the rest. I don't remember it being this.
No, we got
where, like,
Intergalactic
people
last year.
Right.
Sure.
Was that the last one? Yeah, you might be
I'm pretty
right.
sure. I can double check, but I'm pretty sure I remember that being.
And people are theorizing, and I think reasonably so, was this a paid slot? But again, I always interpreted this as like I think it's fairly obvious what is an advertisement at the Game Awards and what isn't. Sometimes an advertisement reads like a trailer, and sometimes a trailer reads like an advertisement, but the way they pitch them, the stage presence, sending you off, giving you a little bit of that seems like it's a more, again, a quid pro quo style. You give us access to your game, you get your game out there, we have something to fill and have people in the seats and watching at home that they're excited about, as opposed to the ads that are selling things for the gotcha games and all the things that are already out or whatever. But that is a reasonable expectation that maybe this was a paid slot, because otherwise Jeff isn't stupid. I mean, that's the thing, is like Jeff plays games. He's not like some clueless person. It's like, did you really believe that? And I really think that affected this game in a major way. I don't even think it's like the nature of the game so much as that it was supposed to be like this is what you thought was the big pop. And I think it really hurt the game. And if that was a decision that they made mutually or it was paid for or whatever, bad choice. Where are we on, Chris, where are we on Highguard? Does this game have a chance?
I don't know, man. It's free to play, so the barrier of entry is going to be pretty low. And I'm sure people are going to be curious about it. At that point, it's going to depend purely on word of mouth, which is possible. Stranger things have absolutely happened, but yeah, man, I don't know. It's just got the stink on it, and like you said, like it really didn't have to. Like I do think its placement in the show is the primary culprit. Like, I actually think like this could have been shadow dropped and people probably would have been okay.
Yeah, they made it so far. Like, why not just do that?
Like, why not? Like, it's because what is it, 7 weeks?
Yeah, it's 7 weeks away.
So, like, what could you possibly get done in that time? Like, like miscalculation across the board. I'm curious. I'm open to it. I do think as a first-person shooter multiplayer kind of guy, I did look at it and I noticed things there that like are kind of interesting, that are not typical. So I'm curious to give it a shot. Like, I think the like summoning spectral fucking mounts in a PvP raid shooter, like they say raid shooter, I don't know what that means. So I am curious to check out like what makes it tick. I'm not too enthused by the art direction. I think it's a little bit. Dude, I think even in the stream, like the first frame of a character, I tuned out immediately because I was like, man, I'm not feeling this. But I mean, it could be fine. I don't think it's going to be successful though. Like I think it may, like the ceiling for this game, in my opinion, is that it finds like a relatively modest but loyal kind of fan base that kind of swears up and down by its quality, but cannot convince anybody to jump in. Like, yes. It's kind of the future that I see for it.
70 employees is not that big of a team. It won't take that much money to get this thing sustainable and going and pay back what they've spent on it, which is probably
free.
Right. Exactly. You're going to need to convince people to buy battle passes or whatever strategy they're going to have. But I don't know. Like, I'm curious what you think, Dustin. It seems like these things become self-fulfilling prophecies 9 out of 10 times based on this reception, this very cold and negative reception. I don't like when people say, because we've said this before, it's like, I don't like when people say like, you never survive something like this. It's like Call of Duty survives this every year. But certainly most games don't survive this. You need to have excitement in the pre-release. It's harder to convince people on the market, but like Chris has said, it's the lowest possible barrier to entry. So it could win people over. I think it looks really generic, but I don't know why people are so outraged by it either. But maybe it's just because I don't play those kinds of games.
I mean, I think it was the placement of the final game. I really don't know where the decision came from. Like you said, whether it was an ad or a Keighley team decision or what. It was not a good idea. I was pretty down on this as well, but if I'm trying to be realistic about it, I think that gamers are human, and that humans have a tendency to be like, oh, look, this is the hour of hate for this thing.
Right.
We found the thing to hate.
Yeah,
Let's all point and laugh.
It feels like that, yeah.
But the other thing is that they are quick to forget. Of course, there's the iconic image of the Steam group that was like, we won't buy Modern Warfare until it has dedicated servers. And then they're all like, it shows they're all playing Modern Warfare 2, right? So
yeah, I love that. That's the best. That was awesome.
I think about when Apex came out. I mean, that was during like, a big time for Battle Royale with Fortnite, PUBG, and others. And I think that if I remember right, it was like a shadow drop where they're like, we're coming out. This is our Battle Royale in the Titanfall engine. And we have streamers playing it right now, and you can go play it right now. It speaks for itself. And it convinced a lot of people in a crowded market that like Apex Legend cemented itself as one of the big Battle Royale games. So I think there's a possibility where this game comes out and people fucking love it and the gameplay's great. And then suddenly it's like everyone forgets.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, it's just as possible that this game comes out and tries to do a couple cool things that end up not really changing the game, and then it dies like less than a year later. I think both of those outcomes are equally possible. We just simply do not know enough yet for that. So I do feel bad because, as I mentioned, the gamer hour of hate was definitely cast upon it.
The hour is
probably
nigh.
Unfairly.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's fair. They didn't, the placement, man, and not only the placement of it, the preface of it, where they were like, from the creators of Titanfall. It's like, dude, no, you got to kind of let the game speak for itself, really. Put that information maybe at the end. That way people are like, oh, what? Well, I mean, it did look kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, dude. If I were them, I would have just shadow dropped personally. Or I would have found some way, some way to do it where we're just out. You kind of got to get out before the audience has even room to doubt you in some sense, or like time to construct a narrative around it. That's what I think Oblivion Remastered did well. Granted, Oblivion is a completely different thing. It's got prestige. People love Oblivion. They're gonna play it sight unseen. But like that game kind of just, people were speculating about it, and then it just dropped. And there were a ton of problems with it, but nobody seemed to care because we were just excited to play Oblivion. And I think that's it's not the right move for every game. But I think if you got a free to play game and you've got a spotlight in the form of the Game Awards, like there's probably no better time to do something like that than with a free to play game that like you have to know internally looks, you're going to have to convince people.
Indistinguishable from so many other things. I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, it's got the same, I don't want to say the same because it's a bit reductive, but it's got this Fortnite adjacent, let's say, style that like, you're going to have to convince people to look at this. And, do we really want to give people 7 weeks to pontificate and spread rumors and make X amount of like daily YouTube videos hating on it? Do we want that narrative to take hold, or should we just, how much more feature complete could 7 weeks be for 70 people? That's to me what I don't understand. You should have just dropped it, but I'll be checking it out. I'm going to give it the time of day. I'm curious about it. I like a good multiplayer shooter. I don't interact with live service elements really at all. Like I don't really fuck around with battle passes, so it's just a new multiplayer game to me, which I'll gladly take. But it's an uphill climb for them, I think. And maybe they have something special, but like they're gonna have to prove it.
Aruki wrote the final question. Says, hello, Sacred Boys. Kickmaster, Terra Enigma, which was never released in the United States, Alundra, Hybrid Heaven, and Brutal Legend are some quirky but awesome games I've had the pleasure of playing in my gaming journey, but they are kind of forgotten. Kickmaster was an NES game. I hold no hope for their revival in a remake or any sequels, but I wish that wasn't the case. My question for you all is, beyond the obvious franchises, which bottom of the drawer game would you love to see revived, but you just can't hold any hope to see, again? I got an answer for this one. Naughty Bear.
Ooh.
Bring it back. Artificial Mind and Movement, I think, made it the Canadian studio. Came out in 2010 on PS3. It ran like shit. I remember, especially on PS3, it ran hard. It was horrible the way it ran. But it really is a great game when it works. And I really loved it. And I bring it up every once in a while about how much I really enjoy that game. And I think it's so strange and interesting. And they did bring Naughty Bear back in. There was a sequel, but like a PSN sequel, but he was a character in something too. Like in some horror game or something that they made. I think he's like appears. Is it Dead by Daylight maybe?
You might be right. Naughty
so
Bear.
He's bouncing around, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Naughty Bear. Naughty.
Dead by his Naughty Bear character. The appearance is a legendary skin for the Trapper Killer in Dead by Daylight. That's
cool. It's such a weird game. For people that don't know, Naughty Bear was about like an outcast teddy bear that was like in a group of teddy bears, but he was the outcast of them. And he would like basically sabotage their get-togethers and end up murdering all of them. So like there would be like a birthday party that he wasn't invited to or something. And then he would like stalk the birthday party and like slowly kill everyone at the birthday party. But you were doing it as a teddy bear against other bears. So like it wasn't gory. The violence was like fluff and like in the insides of a cotton and whatnot. It was cool. I thought it was a really clever idea. I think I'm literally the only one that thinks that, but I wanted to give that one a shout out. Dustin, do you have a good answer?
Yeah, the two that I could think of, because it's ironic, some of the ones that immediately came to mind have come back so unexpectedly. Of course, Tomba, we talked about it earlier, but there was also the Croc, the revival that happened. That's like
the long-awaited Croc revival.
Long-awaited Croc revival. Still have never gotten my physical copy of that I ordered over a year ago.
Yeah, that's limited run game style.
Nope. No? Well, yeah, but it's Rocket Games.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Sorry.
And there's
slandering.
Dude, there's people on Reddit that are, because I every once in a while look up, I'm like, what's going on with this? And people are pissed about it. Should probably just cancel my pre-order and buy it digitally at this point. But the two games that came to mind, and these are two games, sorry, I'm doing a lot of prefacing, that I don't remember how good they are. But I remember them being good in my memory. But are they actually good? I don't know. Number one, Threads of Fate, the FromSoft game, the action RPG for the PlayStation 1, where you can play as either the boy or the girl character. Colin, surely you played this, right?
Yeah.
I remember thinking this game was awesome when I was a kid. I actually bought a copy of it a few years ago. Haven't gone back to it.
How much was it?
So it was kind of an expensive one. I want to say it was like $100.
I'm reading the Croc Reddit, by the way.
Dude, the Croc Reddit. Some haters
Rocket
there.
coming up with more excuses is the newest.
Croc Reddit.
The Croc Reddit, dude.
Sounds insane.
The other game that I thought of, which I barely remember this game other than thinking it was so cool, was a PS2 game from Konami called Shadow of Memories.
Sounds familiar.
This is like a time travel mystery.
Oh yeah, I remember this. I remember this box art.
And we rented this game and played through it and thought it was so cool. And I always wanted to go back to it. And so maybe at some point I'll pick up a physical copy. But the reality is, in this day and age, like he mentions Brutal Legend, like someday they're going to bring back Brutal Legend. Everything comes back.
Yeah.
Almost everything comes back.
Everything, yeah.
If Croc can come back, certainly Brutal Legend can come back.
It's funny, man. This Reddit is funny. Croc Reddit. Getting distracted by it. Chris, what is your selection?
I got a couple that I think I don't, and again, a lot of these are in my memory too because it's been so long. But like, I would love to see some form of them again. Gun. I think in like Gun was so cool and so weird, and I think like I don't know, like there could have been more there. Hunter the Reckoning was an old kind of favorite of mine. Would be cool to see those again. But
yeah, Gun, really I thought Gun was Activision. Yeah. I remember this.
But I think
oh yeah, there was
as
a PSP
far as like
of this. Sorry, good.
I never played the PSP one, but the ones that stick out to me honestly are the weird kind of pandemic games. Like I would love to see a new Mercenaries would fucking floor me, dude. Like I loved Mercenaries and how weird it is. And
I guess EA owns that, right? So soon the Saudis.
Yeah, this all well. That'd be an interesting spin.
Yeah.
But
it would be.
Yeah, I don't know. Like those are the ones that kind of come to mind. There's like a handful that like I know there's like really obscure shit that like I'm not remembering. But all I can I don't really even know how they would continue it, but I loved the premise of the Saboteur. And I really think this question is kind of going into, for me, territory that like I wish like certain games could be reborn with like a proper budget and like proper TLC as opposed to kind of not really getting the amount of time that they deserve. Because I think there's a lot of special premises there. Lord of the Rings, a new Battlefield, like, but like in Lord of the Rings, like Lord of the Rings Conquest would be so sick.
Yeah, that's Pandemic too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of I have a lot of fond memories of Pandemic games. It's so weird. But yeah, I mean, those are the ones that kind of stick out to me. Self Actor is another one. Self Actor is really weird, but that's like very specific.
I like some of his Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I don't even know if that's still happening or whatever. But yeah,
Alundra is a great selection. Hybrid Heaven is an N64 game. That's a really cool game, Konami game too. So there's I actually had Hybrid Heaven I bought that like when it came out. I don't really even know why because it wasn't that good, but it was certainly an interesting game. That's all we have.
Yeah.
And it's over for us now. That's it.
It's over.
We're done for the year. It's time to shut it down. This is episode 390, but of course 391, 392, and all the Sacred Symbols Plus episodes through the first week of January are recorded. And so except for Dustin, he still has to do his. Sorry, Dustin.
Yeah, I've been super lazy about it.
Yeah, I knew I wrote last, like maybe 10 days ago, I wrote a to-do list and I wrote down all the shows I had to do and split them up between days. And I'm like, I got to stick to the schedule. And I did. So, but let's go around the horn and say goodbye to everyone. Chris, goodbye to you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too.
Be well. Are you excited for your break? Are you going to New York? Are you staying in California? What are you doing?
I'll go to New York. I think I'm probably going to be there for New Year's. I think that's typically what the plan is, usually. But I'm looking forward to being back and gorging myself on all the food. And then coming back to the grind. But I'm looking forward to the break.
Back to the old grind. I need a vacation bad. So yeah, I'm ready for this to happen too. Dustin, goodbye to you. Merry Christmas.
Goodbye.
Happy New Year. And by the way, you didn't even bring it up. You publicly announced your big news. We should have said it at the top of the show. I totally.
No, that's right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so glad you said it because I was like, am I going to spoil this at some point? And I feel like I've known for a while now, and I feel like I don't know what I'm supposed to.
One person said you tipped them off during a stream.
Oh, like something I said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which I was like, it's whatever. It's fine.
What did I was like, what did I say? I wonder.
I was like, oh, I'm waiting to do my Christmas card, but I can't talk about it. And you're like, I know what that's about. And I'm like, no, you don't.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I blew
No, it's all good. But yes, it's true. Holly and I are having another baby. So she's pregnant again. She's due this summer. So right after Summer Game Fest, right in that time frame. So
we'll have to decide on a name. Jeff, because we born right around
Jeff Keighley, right? Yeah,
Jeff Keighley Furman.
Jeff Keighley Furman. I think there's something to that. Something to that. So
well, congratulations. We've already talked about this probably, but it's thrilling news.
Yeah, thanks. We're very excited. Holly has been doing very well. She's had way more morning sickness this time, which has been fun dealing with that. But she's a trooper. She's doing great. The baby's very healthy.
Yeah, women just get the fuck it. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
like, someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. But yeah, she's getting like blood tests every week. We've already had an ultrasound, which is not normal, just to make sure everything's good and everything's great. So, yeah.
Well, good.
That's about it.
Hey, congratulations. And I'm sure you're looking forward to getting away. You'll be local. Your parents are there now again, so you're not going anywhere, I assume. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere either. Fuck that.
No.
Oh man, I'm just gonna be hanging out. and doing whatever it is I do. Playing drums. I don't know, walking around, eating, watching football.
Just spend some time walking around. Yeah, it's just a riveting week.
Oh man,
A riveting week awaits.
But congratulations, guys, on another great year. And happy holidays to you, and happy holidays to everyone out there as well. Thank you so much for another year of your love, kindness, and support of Last Stand Media and Sacred Symbols. Of course, the episodes will go on for the rest of the year and into the new year uninterrupted, as you know. So nothing really other new to report. Everything will be there as you expect. LastStandMedia.store, by the way. So patreon.com/LastStandMedia for early ad-free access. We appreciate all that. LastStandMedia.store for merch. You could still buy, I think, but we're not going to be shipping anything until January. So there'll be a note about that on the store. Otherwise, I guess there's nothing else to report. Boys, be well. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. To all of you out there, be well. Thank you again. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. See you in 2026. Bye.
See ya.
Take care, guys.
Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is conceived by, is written by, and is directed by me, Colin Moriarty. My co-hosts are Chris Raygun Maldonado and Dustin Furman. The show is produced by executive producer Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by my best friend, Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand's shows, including Sacred Symbols, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your thoughtful and kind contributions to our independent endeavor. Thank you.